Welcome back to the Cartoonist Kayfabe Ringside Seats Comic Book Symposium. My name is Eli Schwab, coming to you live from Los Angeles, California. This week is another amazing week. We have a big old super special guest. I can't wait to tell you guys. Can't wait to introduce them to you all. It's going to be another great week. We have a nice discussion led by Craig CK. But before that, we're going to go do some plugs. Real quick, I'm going to plug. I got the Ween Zine coming up. You can pre-order Ween Zine issue 6 at theweenzine.com. Here's Ween Zine issue 3. It's another big, fat, juicy one. Shake and bake. This one we had a centerfold from comic book fan and poster artist Zoltron. So that was a big one. Another big book that I want to plug this week is The Power by our very own Rick Lopez. Hot fire. This book is hot fire. Get it while you can. Links will be in the description or in the comments, the chat there. All right, we got some more people coming in. And now let's go around the horn a little bit for some more plugs. So what's up? What's up, Craig?
Not much, man. Just working away. We're on lockdown up here, so working on my life out thing. And,
nice.
And my strip with Rick Lopez and Burgess Meredith, and that's what's on the go for me.
Nice. And where can we all get that? That's on Webtoon under
Webtoon under Next Panel Press. There's a group on Facebook. We'll have a post probably Monday. It seems to be the best traffic time in kayfabe, so I'm going to post it Monday. But yeah, and then on Instagram as well, and you can follow Doomdazed, and Dull Pen is myself, and I forget Burgess's handle. Rick,
Uncle Atomic Press.
Uncle Atomic Press.
Uncle Atomic Press. Thanks. Yeah, that's it for me. Just
cool.
hustling.
What's that?
Just hustling, bro. Just hustling.
Hell yeah. Never stop hustling. And SH. That's the slogan, right? That's the saying. I'll make my own. All right, Rick, what's up with you, man?
I'm working on my strip for tomorrow because we typically put them out on Sundays. So I'm like finishing up my strip, Cosmic Cat. I've still been putting these out, my Power issue 1, or the Power issue 1, excuse me. And I'm finishing up issue 2. I'm getting ready to start inking that as well. So pretty pumped about that.
Hell yeah. All right. What about you, Ray? These are our host plugs, and we're gonna get everyone else to get their plugs at the end, because I mean, it's so great that everyone here is like a creator. Almost everyone here is a creator of some type, including Ray, who creates good vibes all around. What else you want to plug, Rick?
I got, you know what? I'm getting lame on saying this. I got nothing to plug, so I got to figure out something to plug for next time. But I would say The Power is awesome. Craig, I will check out your webtoons. Ween Zine, you got to check out. And there's other work from the Kayfabers out there that, you know, they're on the post. I put a post this morning talking about how artists and creators got to get comfortable with pimping your own work, promoting your own work. So there are a couple people that were like, well, buy my book. That's what you should do. Yeah. Early and often, because if nobody knows about it, nobody's going to buy it. None of the Cyrano de Bergerac stuff of like, I'm going to create art for art's sake. You got to make money out of it, at least something.
And that's post all I got. Links, post photos, post your your plug, your like hook, all that stuff. You gotta.
I will say two things. Stephen Thomas has had his book come out recently, Hell is in Your Heart. That's a pretty good book. It's been out for a while. And 3T was an anthology that came out about a month ago. I think number 2 is in process, and I know he's like thinking about number 3. That's another cool anthology as well to check out. But that's just from what I like.
Definitely. There's and that's such an amazing thing about our group. Like, there's so many amazing books. I just got Burn Residue in the mail too.
Oh, that's great.
Oh my God, it's so good.
That's a great book.
And also Chasing the Bird. Like, so many great books that come out of the Kayfabe group. And I mean, these guys are kicking it everywhere, not just in the group. That's like the great thing. We can come together and have an amazing place to share, and just like you said, pimp the art. I got that from Kevin Smith. He's always talking about like pimping your art. Don't be afraid to do that. And that's what we're all doing. All right. So without further ado, oh, look at this. We got some more people joining us. we have co-host of The Devil in Detail, Ben Granoff. I've been editing all morning, staring at his beautiful face. But first, let's get into this month's conversation topic. So we're going to hand it off to Craig CK to get us started on that. What up, Craig?
What's going on? Okay, so originally I wanted to talk about NFTs, but as we can all tell, it's been overplayed, and Sam has done a lot of studying, and I'm sure we will get to it eventually. But I'd like to see how the long game on that, how it plays out. Something for me personally recently that I experienced that I kind of wanted to share and my ideas behind it. So be prepared. I call it freedom from the long box, or how I gave up singles and learned to love the trade paperback when applicable. So the long box is 30 inches long, holding 250 to 300 comics, weighing close to 50 pounds when full. I had 7 of them until I decided I wanted freedom. I recently gave 6 long boxes away, shed myself of 300 pounds of comics. Those boxes were full of big 2 books and some image stuff. People thought I was crazy or being too generous. And one of the recipients even asked if I was dying. No, I'm not dying. I'm a little crazy, as most of you know. And although I was being generous, because I'm sure there was some monetary gain that I could have gotten out of giving them away, but that wasn't in my heart. And I didn't want to go through the process of trying to sell, 1,000 comic books, right? I gave them to 2 fellow kayfabers who are my friends. They got first dibs, and they went through the boxes gleefully, and it was a really great afternoon. However, it wasn't about being generous. It was about freedom. Anything I had in those boxes, I had read a million times, or I could get in a collected version or trade paperback. Blasphemous to some, for sure. It may not be a popular opinion, but for me, it was an easy decision. When comics are kept in that depressing, long, heavy white box, I'm not experiencing them. I didn't want to share them with others. They were bagged and boarded, and I felt like Golem, always being aware of their presence and fearing harm or people touching my precious comics. I want my comics from the big publishers to be accessible at all times, free for others to enjoy too. So, for example, being an artist, let's say I want to study Kirby's layouts and New Gods. Do I want to go to a box, thumb through, open a 40-year-old book to study? Fuck no. I'm panicking right now even thinking about doing that. That's the collector side of me, and that's the crux of it all. I don't want the stress of that moment. And when I realized that I knew something had to change. Was it collecting or was it love? I chose love. I'd rather grab my omnibus and flip through that than worry if I'm going to damage a valuable book. And that presented yet another question. Where is the real value of a book? Is it just the thing? Is it just the thing in the bag propped up by a piece of cardboard, or locked in a hard shell plastic? Or what's actually inside the book? So for me, it's clearly what's inside the book. And yeah, I said I had 7. And I did, and I gave 6 away. So I had 1 left, but it's slowly filling up with indie creators' books that aren't going to be collected. So, stuff from all you guys and everyone else. But even now, like at this point, I'm still trying to find a way to display them so others can experience them. Like I don't want it to be so isolating. You know what I mean? To each their own, but I'm glad to be rid of the boxes and thankful for the space and lack of stress those boxes gave me. So those are my thoughts. Discuss.
That's very well written. Everyone, if you got something to say, raise those hands, and I'm going to get you in here to chat with Craig. For me, I am also I have this closet full of long boxes, and some of those long boxes are Mads and Wizards that I've had since I was a kid, or my childhood comics. And so it's just I don't throw anything away. I'm completely, but listening to you say that, Craig, made me want to number one, pull everything out of the closet and open it up and see what's even in there. Do I even know what's in there? It makes me want to find out what I even have. Do I even remember what's in there? Like you said, it's locked away, gone from me, Oof.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. I just kept looking at those boxes and never going through them and just feeling there's so much in there, and it's like a fucking prison.
Yeah.
It's just what you think about, right? Each of those boxes are there's 250 to 300 comics in those boxes.
Yeah.
And haven't touched them, haven't looked at them. they're not doing anyone any service. And I don't care about the fucking money. I gave away like signed issues that I had. I was just like, I just want to be free of that side. I'm here about the art mostly because I'm an artist, and some of the stories, except some of the image stuff. I'm not going to lie, early image stuff, but I still love the art.
Do you have a monthly pull, or did you end that as well?
No. Man, there, like anything that I'm collecting now, it's like all from you guys. Like it's from everyone in the group. Like that's hard enough because I got to pay to have it shipped over the border, and that's a whole nother topic we can fucking get into later.
Oh man.
But so it's like when I buy a comic book now, it's from one of you guys, and for me, it's a little bit more special. I'm helping out like a fellow cartoonist, fellow kayfaber, and it says more. It says more than buying a single issue of, you know, Thor or whatever, you know. Like sure, I'm sure it's all great and stuff, but those guys don't need my fucking money, man. You know what I mean?
Hey, sometimes they might these days. DC might need your
desperately. Yeah.
You want to know what? Go make an indie book and fucking then I'll fucking buy it. You know what I mean? So that you can make some real fucking money. To me, it's like, it's just why for me personally, again, this is all my personal opinion. I'm not willing to be a slave to those boxes, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just not in me, you know, worrying about if someone's touching them or where they're placed. And they were all in the basement. So I have to, you know, you're just always constantly worried about, well, what if there's a flood? And I don't give a shit about any of that anymore, man.
Yeah.
All my books are on bookshelves. I've got thousands of trade paperbacks. I've got tons of artist collections, and I'm better for it. So the reference and the inspiration is just like a handful away and not fucking stressing about looking at a 40 book.
I feel you. All right, let's get Will up here. He's got his hand up. Anyone who wants to say something, definitely raise your hand. Let's get you up in here. Ryan, why aren't your hand up? I'm sure you or other people who are in here who are retailers, Pete.
Yeah. I mean, how do you raise your hand real quick? I can't see the thing on my Zoom.
Oh,
it's under reactions. Go to reactions and click the button, and there's the raise hand button.
Oh, that's an actual electronic thing to do. I was raising my hand like the roof was on fire.
Sorry, I didn't see it.
I mean, all I see is clap, thumbs up, heart, the laughing, and the fucking open mouth one. I don't see a raise hand thing.
There's like a button.
Is there a raise hand?
Who's on
just do the clapping?
I was a jabroni clapping.
Okay, all right.
I'll raise your hand for you, Ryan.
Okay.
All right. Well, no problem.
Yeah. So I'll just start off by like, dude, Craig, like it's not blasphemy at all, man. Like you enjoy comics the way you want to enjoy comics, right? And that's the important part. But it's also like I'm a collector, right? I'm a collector and I'm a dealer. I've got thousands and thousands and thousands of issues in my garage right now. In fact, Peter could talk about it. I just shipped him 100 and something issues of comics.
I was gonna say I love back issues, yeah.
But it's to me, it's like you have to give up a certain amount of freedom over that control of like, you know, is every issue going to be perfect and bagged and boarded? Like, I mean, I love having my comics floppies. I love having I love having the old comics because I love opening up and reading them, not just for the art, right? Like, because I can get the trade paperback. I love the whole experience of the actual comic, right? Like, I love the ads. The ads are like my favorite part, right? And they don't reprint those in a lot of the books, right? I love the smell of it. I love everything about the old comic, but I also am not that precious about it. And one of the things that I learned to do that made it free to me was one, I sell almost all my old comics at like $1, almost all of them when I go to cons. And that's why, like, when my partner and I go to cons and we have just tables of dollar bins, we're like the most popular dollar bins at the cons because we have a lot of like $5, $10 books in those because we don't care. We probably paid, you know, pennies for them from a collection. And if I can help get those comics into people's hands for $1 and they love it, that's awesome. But the other thing I started doing was like, you know, the worst thing is, like you mentioned, the slabs, right, man? I started cracking the slabs. So like these are my bounty, right? Like, you know, like I keep these and I got a stack more slabs that I haven't cracked yet. Cause there's that part of me that goes like, I know how much some of these are worth that I haven't quite pulled the trigger to crack those ones yet, but I'm going to. Like, every day I think about it and I'm like, I got to free that book, man. Like, there's nothing I like more than cracking that slab and then opening that book and being like, yeah, this is how it should be, you know?
I also want to say that the books that weren't taken by the kayfabers. One of them was Jerome, who's here somewhere. I can't see him. There he is. And he donated the books and gave some of the books to kids. So it's like, in the end of it all, it's like, you know, you're just passing it forward and, you know, hopefully introducing a whole new generation to comics. And that to me is the biggest reward out of everything. Like, at the end of the day, kids are going to get their hands on those. And, you know, they weren't going to get that fucking opportunity sitting in my fucking basement, locked away in their white prison cell. You know what I'm saying? But again,
not those image ones though, man.
You know? I respect everyone's opinion.
Not those image ones.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Little
So
kitties don't get Witchblade.
no. All right, Rome, you're up next. Oh, sorry. Were you done? Well? Y'all set? All right, cool. Thanks, man. Thanks always for coming out. Will, who does the 100% comics and who does the Make More Comics Arts Grant. Huge stuff. And get in touch with him if you're looking to submit to the next issue, I think, right, Will? You're looking for that?
Yeah, we're taking submissions for issue 4 right now of our anthology zine. So if you take a look at, you can search on Facebook for 100% comics. It's the number 100 and then % comics. All the submission guidelines are there.
Cool. Nice. All right, Joe, what's up, Rome? Let's put you up here.
Yeah. Well, as Craig said, I was the lucky recipient of a bunch of boxes. You know, making sure that my back was okay, because me and Jason were just like lugging stuff around. But it was great. You know, the thing is with the long boxes, like I did a big purge like years ago, before I got married and everything like that. So I had one long box, but a lot of the stuff like I don't really need more X factors, right? So there was a lot of doubles that we had, but between me and Jason trying to throw off Alpha Flight to each other, right? He was trying to get me to read all those, right? I'll take the Wolverine ones, but I had a whole box here, and I got stuck. I haven't really dug into a long box in forever because I went going to get the trades and stuff, because you have that fear of, there's a little scuffed corner or there's a little bend in the spine, and then you freak out, and then you don't want to read it anymore, and then that takes away the art. It's dead art, right? It's not really there. It's not really there anymore. So when I got home, and what was really nice about Craig was made sure that, that me and my wife were okay, that I wouldn't get kicked out of the house if I brought home any more long boxes. But it was all good. I went to the basement and I started digging them up, and I got lost. I got lost in the trap. And I was trying to make some piles that I could give away, piles that I wanted for myself, because there was a lot of stuff there that I still wanted, right? I wanted to make sure that I benefited too, right? It's not just all good stuff where I give just it all to the kids, right? I wanted my stuff. So I put some packs together for a couple friends and their kids, and even like in the neighborhood when one of my daughter's friends came by, and I was like, "You guys like comics?" And their parents were like, "Are they good for kids?" And I was like, "I don't know, but you want to take a look?" And take a couple of Superman, a couple of Marvel Comics Presents, right? Just here's a bunch of stuff, but look them over first. It's kind of like Halloween, but I just find that it's a really just the floppies and the long boxes. They're a nice little piggy bank, right? They're a nice little piggy bank, not to spend, but just to kind of give away. It was like, oh, you like stuff here, and
for sure,
a lot. When people saw that I had stuff, they're like, oh, are you gonna sell them? And that's of course, there's that thought that goes through your head. But I was like, I didn't pay anything to get these, right? It would be gross of me to try to shop it around, and I don't have time to do all that. So it was more like pay it forward. I do everything that I do really, because of like comics and cartoons and martial arts and everything like that. Like it all came together all at once. So if I can give that to somebody else, I did a cartooning course for a bunch of kids, and everybody that submitted something, I got a pack for them. I'd like to hand them over to them now. I have it all set up, but I can't hand it to them because we're all locked down and everything. But it's there for them waiting, and it's there for them waiting. And they got and I put a couple of boxes through to the I know I post in the group about Value Village a lot, about my Value Village finds. So I wanted to give back, and I put a box like courtesy of the Cartoonist Kayfabe ringside seats on the long box, and just dropped it in there. Hopefully more word gets out of everything, right? So everyone can get a little bit of shine. Yeah, but that's enough out of me.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good thing. I mean, it's sometimes you got to bust out of that mentality that there was in the 90s a little bit about like, oh, this comic, like I can put my kids through college with this comic or something like that. Like that's not really like, maybe there's a book here and there, Walking Dead #1, like from our time that can do that. But like, that's just not the reality anymore. But
hey, you're telling me my Spawn #1's not going to put my son through college?
Oh, wait.
We all thought that. We all thought that. It was always behind the counter at the comic shop.
How about this one?
No, what's that one?
Or wait. What about this one?
Oh, maybe that one.
Oh, wait. What about this one?
Oh, that's the one. That's the one.
There's this one. And then there's...
Oh my God! Is that from Craig's box?
You guys know about Lava Man? Wait, what about
Lava Man?
What about this one? And I think I gave about like Craig says he's got a whole bunch. He had doubles of everything.
All right, cool. All right, let's bring up the next hand up, which is Ryan Balcom. We all know him from Loungin' Son, the comic lounge. Wait, Comics Lounge or Comic Lounge?
Comic Lounge. There's another channel that fucking started on YouTube like literally 2 weeks after me, the Comics Lounge. Like I know.
No.
Yeah, it's fucking annoying. It's because I had my site for like probably 2 years before I even decided to do it. But you know, that's
let's send out the leg breaker.
I could bitch about it all day if I wanted to. But Craig, it's like I'm listening to you like getting rid of your boxes, dude, and fuck, dude, I've moved a lot in my life, and the boxes have only gotten more. I think I had, when I moved into the house I'm living in now, I probably had 25 to 30. I don't buy long boxes. I do short. It's easier to move, right? I had like short boxes when I moved in here, and part of me is like, yeah, I kind of want to switch to trade, but it's for me, like, I don't know. There's the collectability about it too. Like I like having like, oh, I got this whole run. And at the same time, like, you know, I don't buy stuff with the intention of it being worth money. But when I didn't work during the pandemic, like I sold a shit ton of comics. That was my job, you know, like 8 hours a day. I was like religiously, I was listing books on eBay, piecing single issues out, putting runs on there. And that helped pay the bills, you know, because like, yeah, we had the extra on the unemployment, but like, you know, like my wife and I, our rent is fucking $3,000 a month, dude. That's
wow.
That's not cheap. You know what I mean? So like
LA.
Yeah, LA fucking sucks. And then you have all the other bills. So like, that's like one of the reasons why I hold on to them, because of things like that, like where I had no money coming in, and like I was able to go to that and like do it that way. And then there's times where like, fuck, I just want to take all these fucking boxes and I just want to chuck them sometimes, you know, because like it's a fucking bitch having it sometimes, especially moving through states. Like through my childhood, my mom had some there, you know, I had some at the apartment, then I moved here, and it's like, and it just grows. And then there's also the thing, like, if people don't support the single issues, right, there's not going to be a trade. And you're right, Marvel and DC, they don't need our fucking money. Well, DC probably a little bit more, because AT&T doesn't give a shit about them. And if they had their way, they would just write them off and there would be no fucking comic books. But it really is true. Like, I work in a shop, so I see it. Like, if a book is not supported on a monthly basis, that book doesn't exist. And that's just as it's the same for Marvel and DC, it's the same for Image. It's the same for these small publishers that are distributed to comic book shops. And you know, much like a lot of you guys have said, like I just talked to Will. We just did we had a chat before we jumped on here, and you know, I love being in this group. And I may not make comics myself, and I may not fuck, I lost my train of thought. It's been a long day. I worked all day. But I love being able to like discover you guys. And Eli is the one that kind of brought this group to my attention. He's the one that brought the Kayfabe channel to my attention. Without Eli, I wouldn't know any of you guys. I wouldn't have discovered all these dope comics that you guys are putting out too. But at the same time, like we do need the industry as currently constructed. If not, I mean, there needs to be some changes. Don't get me wrong, but like we do need those comic books in order for the industry to grow, in order to nurture and develop new readers in comic books. We have Scholastic, we have creators like Dave Pilkey, and then Raina Telgemeier, who she sells more comic books than anybody that's doing Marvel or DC, right? So like it's like that catch-22. Like I don't know. Like part of me was like, I do want to get rid of it, and I did sell a lot, but then I ended up buying a lot because of this group and because of Jim and Ed with their fucking comic books they go through. Now, like I don't even look at the episode. I see the title of the book, and I go online and I buy the book first, and then I jump and I watch it.
I'm not proposing like to not buy single.
No, I agree. I know.
Because honestly, guys, like we all know, anyone that knows me, I'm a huge Archie mark, and like I have like those books I did not get rid of, and I have probably about 3,000 of them. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So it's just, but they're not in boxes. They're on shelves, so anyone can. You know, I've got them in my bathroom. You know what I mean? Like they're fucking everywhere. My wife probably wants to kill me. I think supporting the industry is good. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying the idea for me of getting that single issue, reading it, and then locking it away, and you know that's where to me the disconnect is. That's not.
I would at all. And I wasn't saying you were insinuating that. I was saying for me personally, like why that's the battle I have within me all the time, like throughout the month, like as I'm like bringing home my books and I get a good discount. And it doesn't mean I spend less. I just get more. And
you know what? Beyond all that, just time out. The coolest fucking part about your story is that like old comic books and comic books in general saved you through a fucking super shitty time, which in itself says a lot. So that's kind of fucking cool too. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of neat.
Yeah.
So y'all, I just want to pop in here. Well, are you guys done? Are you guys? How you
guys?
I'm
good. I'm good.
Yeah, we're done. We're done.
Oh man, we got our super special guest, y'all, ladies and gentlemen, popping in all the way from Portland, Oregon. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, Jim Mahfood.
Thank you.
What up? Welcome everyone, and welcome Jim. This is Craig. He's the one who proposed the question I sent to you about how do you feel about it? Where are you with your long boxes, with your short boxes, with your trade paperbacks? What's your collection situation?
I love it all. I mean, I still have everything in all formats. And I also still buy, monthly floppy comics. So I know a lot of people don't even bother with that anymore. They just wait for trades, but there's something nostalgic and childlike for me, the excitement of going to the store on Wednesday and anticipating a new book that I'm excited about and just buying it and enjoying it in that format. I always think of comics as that floppy thing that you buy, and the trades are great and look classy on your bookshelf, but I still associate comic books for some reason with that traditional thing that I bought as a kid that was like 60 cents on the rack in like 1984 or 3 when I bought my first book or whatever. So space-wise, though, I know a lot of people, if you live in an apartment, you don't want 10 long boxes of comics taking up space. And I had a major purge of all that I definitely regret. Like when I moved to LA in 2002, and I think in like 04, 05, I wound up saying, fuck it. And I sold like 10 boxes of 10 long boxes to Golden Apple. And they paid me, what they paid me was probably like 1/10 of what the books were worth. So it years later, I did wind up regret doing that. And now that I am renting a house in Portland, it's cheaper to live than it was in LA. I have a whole separate room, an office with all my books, and I have long boxes of comics again. So I don't know if that's a good thing or bad thing, because now I go out bin diving for like 50-cent comics and shit. And like, you know, Ed and Jim are probably responsible, I guess, for some of that, because I get excited watching their videos. And there's some really good shops in Portland that have like dollar boxes, 50-cent boxes. And I'll just go on the weekend and come home with a stack of books, but then it's like, oh, that's more paper for my home that's already filled with all my art, all my archives, all my books. But I mean, you become like a junkie. You become like an addict with these hobbies we have, man, you know.
But that's what propelled you, probably as a kid, you said, to then be like, man, I need to add to this. I need to start making my own of these.
Yes.
And that's in exactly what's continuing it now into a new Girl Scouts book. Segue.
Yeah. Thank you for the shameless plug there.
Hey, no problem. How's that going?
I love like going out to and supporting like friends' first issues. Like I don't know if you guys saw James Herron's Ultra Mega.
Oh yeah.
Issue 1 came out. Like I woke up that day and was so pumped to go buy that at the comic shop, because I knew it was going to be fantastic. And it's just so great. And I've read it a couple times now. And I just have it like by my art desk over here. I have like a stack of books for inspiration. And it's just kind of nice to have like something that's so easily available. And also with trades, I don't know if you guys feel this way, but since it's a thick thing, you can't really open it and set it open and leave it open on a space. So sometimes when I'm working over here, I have like a big flat table that isn't on an angle, and I'll just have floppies opened up, and I'm just sort of looking at comics while I'm making comics. And it's sort of like osmosis, where I just feel like the energy of the comics are coming into my layouts or whatever.
It's like a vision board or something kind of thing that like
inspiration board.
Inspiration board, yeah. Do you have certain comics that are, is it like, okay, now I'm working on the new Girl Scouts, so I've got these like 6 or 7 books and this is how it stays? Or is it like you kind of move them around depending on what type of action you're doing?
It kind of depends. I always have some Simon Bisley, some Sienkiewicz, and some Jamie Hewlett always out, just to remind myself that that's the world that I kind of want to work in. That's my
that's your like creative voodoo soup there.
Yeah. And I've also got I have some like anime manga books that have actual storyboards in them, like the Fooly Cooly one. Grab this real quick. Is this guy, I don't know if you guys know about this book, but Groundwork of Fooly Cooly, and it's all storyboards from the actual Fooly Cooly animated cartoon with art in the back, character designs. But this, for like storytelling, I look at a lot, just because I think, you know, the Japanese have their own aesthetic with pacing, storytelling, and it's so dynamic. So I like kind of having a little bit of everything.
Yeah. The way those books flow when you're reading through them, like reading through anime or manga books, it's something new for me. Like reading, you're like, at first you're like, oh, I'm reading backwards, I won't be able to figure this out or something. But it's like, it's immediate because you're a comic lover already. You know how comics work. And then you just start and then you just fly. And like, you're looking at my co-host on Can I Flip It Madness is like, you got to read these DBZ books, Dragon Ball Z. So I was like, or Dragon Ball. So I was like, all right, I'll start there. That's kind of like the basic. And I was like, look at this fucking huge book. But it's like, you know, you like get through those in one sitting. And it's like, because of the action and exactly what you're talking about, the flow.
Yeah. It's amazing, man. I was in Japan right before the pandemic hit at the end of 2019. And just seeing, like, going to the bookstores over there and just seeing like 10,000 books in one store of all just art, like manga, and flipping through it. I'm sort of, I mean, I know some stuff, but I don't have the knowledge of, like, I guess maybe like Ed Piskor or some other people, but it's just overwhelming how much there is and how experimental and crazy. And that was the main lesson I got out of going over there and looking at their stuff, is like, you can just do anything you want and be as crazy as you want. And I think, I mean, I do my own weird bugged out thing anyway. And the reassuring thing when I went over there was like, oh, I can do anything I want with my stuff, especially my thing, like Girl Scouts. Like, I can write and draw whatever I want. Nothing is too crazy. Nothing is too insane. And that trip just kind of reinvigorated that independent spirit inside of me of like, nothing is too insane, man. You know?
Well, and it's so cool because not only do your fans see that, but then like even Marvel and DC or whoever, they've given you the reins to these different books to be like, we want to see you do whatever book it is, Howard the Human or those Bizarro Tales. And they're just like, we just want to see how you interpret it through your lens. And that's like enough for people to be like, Jim's got that singular view and that's what we want. So,
yeah.
All right, let's get some questions from the crew here. Let's see, I'm going to unpin myself.
What's up, Ryan?
What up, dude?
How you doing?
How's it going? Good, man.
Ryan's hand, yeah, your hand doesn't work.
I'll raise my hand.
Your hand,
That's
I figured
fine.
it was up. Yeah.
So when are we gonna get new Girl Scouts, dude? I've been eagerly anticipating some new stuff from you.
Yeah, I just confirmed the schedule with Image last week, and the first issue November of this year.
Wow. Okay.
So we have a ways. It's the end of the year, but at the same time, man, it's like mid-April already. So for me, I feel like that's going to be here before we know it. And I have 4 issues out of the 6 completely done. So I still have to draw 5 and 6, and then I have plenty of time to do the covers and make sure everything is in a row before we start releasing stuff. But my goal was like, I want to at least get the book coming out this year, like starting this year anyway.
Very cool.
So yeah.
Dude, I'm very stoked. I can't wait.
I'm ready.
Kind of curious, man. You guys were talking some manga. Like, I just got into manga, I would say within like last year and a half. Like, I read like Naoki Urasawa's Monster, 21st Century Boys, and I think he did Pluto. Do you have any recs of like stuff that you're really digging? Any manga recs?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably all the obvious stuff that you've heard, between the original Ghost in the Shell, Akira. I follow this one guy named Jiro Matsumoto just because I love his art so much. Let me grab one of his books real quick.
See the Fanfare Ponent Mon? Okay.
This stuff, this is all in Japanese. So JKPN, I think is the name of the book, but he does a looser, kind of scratchy line style. Nice. But it's really beautiful stuff. So when I was in Japan, I hung out with one of Ed's buddies, and I went to the store and was like, hey, can you just get me everything that this guy does, Jiro Matsumoto? And he got me a stack of books. So I got all those, and then I'm looking at my bookshelf over here. I actually dig One Punch Man. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yeah.
But that's kind of a go-to. I mean, pretty easy one. The Ryuko, this book. You guys have probably seen this guy.
Oh yeah.
This is dope stuff. A bunch of stuff in the studio back there that I would have to get at some other time. But the dude who does Black and White, Tekken Concrete, I love his stuff. Yeah, man, but I'm still learning as well, you know.
Yeah, same. You should check out Chainsaw Man too.
What is that one called?
Chainsaw Man.
Okay.
Yeah,
Write
that
that
shit's
down.
fucking insane. He's just got chainsaws strapped to both hands.
It sucks. It's between printings and it's out of print right now.
I saw this on Brandon Graham's Instagram. It's Chasing Amy. It's like a manga.
Oh yes.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Like it's got, it's all in Japanese too, but then there's like different parts of the movie that are adapted. Man, such a cool thing.
I forgot about that. I was like, I've seen that. What is that?
It's so cool. Oh my God.
Yeah, I want to borrow that, Eli.
Oh, thanks, dude.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Keep going, Ryan, or what you up?
No, I'm good, man. I'm good.
Dude, thanks.
Next person.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go through the hosts because I know those guys got some questions. We've been working on some stuff. All right. So Ray, you want to go first, dude? You got to unmute yourself though, because I did unmute you. I muted you there.
That's a wise thing to mute me.
Oh, whoops. Wait.
You got me?
Yeah, go ahead, dude.
Okay. Hey, Jim. Thanks for showing up. I just was curious because I listened to a podcast that you did with Eli back in 2013, and you were talking about having to update the Girl Scouts then for recent work that you were going to do. So I was just kind of curious, like for the new Girl Scouts that you're working on now, is there like another update or revisions as far as like, because it's been like 8 years or so, 6, 7, 8 years, or since that conversation. And I was just kind of curious, like, is it basically the same because not that much time has passed by, or, kind of how you look at that? Because usually like with like characters, like I'm gonna pick like Batman, it's basically the same thing. The tech is different, but it's basically the same thing. But to actually sit there and say, hey, it's been a while, that's not gonna work. So I was just more curious about that, if you could elaborate on anything.
Yeah. I did a series with them in 2017 called Girl Scouts Magic Socks, and that definitely was an update from the previous 2 series in that my writing and my art had evolved since the previous 2 series, and the previous 2 were also in black and white. This one was in full color with my buddy Justin Stewart doing the coloring and lettering. He's a brilliant colorist. So it was an updated version and also collaborative effort between Justin and I. And then with the new series, I'm doing literally everything with writing, penciling, inking, coloring, and lettering. So it's all me in my updated current style. And story-wise, I'm even going in a different direction where I'm introducing a new Girl Scout character, and it's more of a solo adventure with her. And it's kind of a strange, like almost sci-fi thing where it takes place in outer space. So again, like the Japanese influence of like, do whatever you want, be as weird as you want. I wanted to do a story that was like, okay, I want to have a girl on an adventure and she can jump around from different planets. There's different characters, aliens, bounty hunters, weird stuff. And so the approach and the tone is still me, but I feel like this is also kind of a step in a different direction as well. And I think for me, when I write and draw my own stuff, it's like I have to do that to keep myself excited and interested and committing this much time to a project,
Okay, that's very cool. All right,
hopefully that makes sense.
No, it does make sense, because I think in that podcast you had mentioned using Miles Davis's analogy, where like Miles Davis wasn't doing the same music. He just said, hey, I'm getting bored, I got to do something, I got to keep it fresh, I got to get modern, I got to do modern influences, this album's not going to be like the last album, and that stuff. So I thought that was really interesting, because it's safe to be in that same kind of routine where you're cranking out the same stuff,
right?
But obviously it's not going to be as interesting if you're just doing the same thing,
right? I think that's a challenge that a lot of artists face, especially in comics, because in comics, you usually get famous for having a very specific style. Like say you're Jim Lee, you explode onto the scene, everyone flips out over your work. But then does that mean you're pigeonholed into that style where, say Jim Lee suddenly wanted to do like Dave McKean level painted mixed media work? Like would Jim Lee's core fan base follow that, or would he lose a big chunk of his audience because they want Jim Lee to be Jim Lee? you know? So that's something I've always kind of thought about as I get older, where it's like, okay, if I have a style that can kind of keep changing, is there a breaking point where I go too far at some point and people abandon me, or people are like, oh, that's not for me, you know? So it's a weird thing that I think each artist kind of has to figure out on their own, in a way of like, where do you want to go? How much do you want to change and evolve without losing what draws people to your work?
Yeah. Okay, it's interesting. I don't want to hog, so thank you very much for that. That was really interesting, and looking forward to the book in November.
Oh, thanks, man. Thank you.
Thanks, Ray. Yeah, man, Jim, you can see your style. That's something that's kept me coming back is the evolution so much from Generation X Underground, which has such a clear style, to like Kick Drum Comics, then like I feel like is the next like level, and then onto the Girl Scout stuff now, which is just like beyond you know, the pale. It's like that the Stedman comes in hard, and all the influences you can see, you know, it's like, love it.
Yeah. Thanks, man. Yeah, it's a weird thing to look back. Most artists don't like to look back on their stuff. For me now, it's become almost like a nostalgic thing where it's like, oh, I got through it, and I'm glad that I did that work so that I could get to where I'm at now. Because without that, there wouldn't be this current thing.
Did you watch Jim and Ed go through the Clerks holiday special? Where you like, oh
yeah. Ed was cool enough to send me the video in advance before they posted it. Nice. So because he sent me like a little teaser of it, and then I called him right away because he said something like, Rug and I were rereading this, and the amount of text that's in it, we were just off camera thinking like, how did he have to lay out these pages like with all this dialect? So I called Ed, and I'm like, dude, I have to tell you a quick story, because it became this whole issue with me and Bob Schreck, the editor at Oni, with getting the script from Kevin and being like, it's hysterical, it's brilliant, but there's certain panels where there's like 4 paragraphs of dialogue coming from one character. So it's like, where I'm asking Bob, as like a 23-year-old kid, like new to comics, like, where do the drawings go? Like, where? And we had to like do schematics or something, in a way of almost like me faxing pencils to Sean Conant, the letterer. Because this was in that day of like, Sean would actually still hand letter on my pencil boards and FedEx them back to me, and then I would ink them. So I kind of had to show Sean some of the penciled layouts and say, you've seen the script, is there enough room in this panel for you to ink in the lettering? And he would either say yes or no, but it became this, it was like solving a puzzle, you know? And, but it was great to see it reviewed by Kayfabe, because it was, they just sprinkled like that magic dust on it, you know, and it was fun.
If only you could feel the effects from the Kayfabe effect now, but it's all like eBay purchases and stuff. You know?
Right. Well, you know, they did, I felt it when I released my One Dangerous Donut oversized magazine. They did a mailbox episode where they showed that, and I got a shitload of orders from the book like 2-3 days after that video hit, dude.
Hell yeah.
So
do you think the amount of letters there with Kevin, I call him Kev around the house.
Sure. Why not?
Did it inspire, like, because I know you had a lot of text in those stupid comics back in the day too. I feel like those were like a young cartoonist like getting shit off his back, you know. It was like, which came first, and that?
Yeah, you're totally right. It was funny because like I think Kevin writing comics back then, it gave permission to all of us to become extremely like verbose and have big dialogue scenes with our characters. And the first Girl Scout series and Stupid Comics, all from that 98, 99 era. I reread the Girl Scouts right before I always do a new comic. Yeah. And then rereading the 98 stuff, I was like, shit, there's a lot of dialogue in here. There's a lot of, and I think as you get older, hopefully, and more experienced, like the new series, I'm concentrating on like the less is more formula with dialogue, right. Where if it's this outer space adventure with this new character, allow space to let the visuals tell the story, establishing shots of different cities and planets. And you can kind of rein yourself in a little bit and not have to do 10 paragraphs of conversation.
Well, I think it's like comic book readers are smarter now because, like, you know, it started where Stan Lee was like, the hero aims his eye beams at, you know, like where Stan was like telling you every single movement and motion that these characters were doing. And like now comic book fans are so much smarter and the art is even better that we don't need all these words to like tell us what's happening. And like, I feel like I read 5 issues of Donny Cates' Thor this morning in like 30 minutes, but right. That's because he let it all, like he let the visuals and the action do all the telling, the story.
Yeah. It's interesting too, man, because everyone sort of got rid of thought balloons too. Like, I don't know when that happened, but it became kind of an agreed thing in comics, in the zeitgeist in general. Like, you don't really need thought balloons anymore. And right. I sometimes miss that, but I feel like if you have narration boxes, obviously that can replace the thought balloon if it's told in the first person. But there's something interesting about reading old comics and still having like the thought balloons.
Yeah.
You know,
and how much when you read the old comics, you can see how far we've come as a group. All right, Craig, what's up, brother? What you got?
Hey, Jim, how's it going?
Hey, Craig, how are you?
Not bad, man. Eli's really kind of made me do a deep dive on your career. I was aware of Clerks, of course, big Kevin Smith fan, and of course Scud. I'm a huge Scud mark.
Oh yeah.
I was wondering, I got a couple questions, kind of twofold here. What are you listening to today? Because I know that's a big thing for you, music, and what, if at all, well, first, yeah, what are you listening to? I'll let you get that through that first, and then I'll ask.
Yeah. So much, man. I mean, I have like a routine during the day where, like, when I'm drawing, it's generally like upbeat, like late 70s punk era, early 80s hip hop. So like the Black Flag, Bad Brains, The Damned, Public Enemy, Tribe Called Quest, you know, kind of like upbeat stuff. And then at night, it's usually more of like jazz, like Miles Davis or Coltrane, kind of instrumental. So I go in waves with that kind of stuff. And if I could shamelessly plug something, I do a music podcast called Skull Funk Radio, and it's all on Spotify right now. And I just make an hour-long mixtape, man, and I put it up, and it's something you can draw to. And it's basically a chronicle of everything I'm listening to. So maybe check out the show, and I think you'll dig it. And each show is like, represents all the different genres that I'm interested in. So we just got picked up by Spotify like a month ago, and it's all free. It's all up there.
If I may pop in here, because it's so nice at work, because I can only really get Spotify on my work computer.
Oh yeah.
And so man, I've just been going back and listening.
Oh,
like
cool.
I'll listen 10 hours at work, just like all day. And it's so perfect. Craig, if you're at the tattoo shop, of course, like it's just so perfect because it's like different music, enough to keep you in like active all day. There's not too much talking, but there's just enough talking. Sometimes you're like, Jim, tell us a little bit more about what's going on, bro. But like, you know, but it's like just enough to where it's like that perfect mix of like what Jim's up to and then the fat beats. It's like so good.
Yeah.
All right, good. Continue, Craig. Sorry.
That's all good, man. My second part is I tattoo for a living, and I recently went back to school to get a master's degree in illustration, and it kind of forced me to like redo everything and kind of take a step back. In saying that, I had to put down a lot of the digital stuff I was doing. Like, it's really conducive for what I do. It's quick and fast, so I'm constantly on my iPad. In saying that, have you adopted any new technology? Like, do you rock an iPad Pro with Procreate and like on the go, or are you still like straight up old school? Like,
yeah, I'm still old school traditional. I mean, I'm not opposed to digital or anything like that. It's not that level. It's just, I think I became so ingrained with drawing and my style years ago traditionally that's just my wheelhouse that I feel most comfortable in. But I mean, obviously I'm scanning all my original art in for my comics, and I clean everything up in Photoshop. I'm adding coloring effects in Photoshop. So I do rely on digital as part of my process, but the foundation of what I'm doing is still kind of the traditional ink on paper. And I still cruise around, man, with like a sketchbook in my backpack or whatever, and my pens. And it's just, but again, I mean, I hang out with friends that I mean, they're doing, their version of the sketchbook is the iPad Pro. And to me, it looks great. It's awesome. It's like whatever gets the job done. So I'm not like an analog purist. It's just whatever you can make your thing with that you feel the most comfortable with.
Nice.
You know, it just, I think coming in the early 90s, it was like everything was, and I went to art school as well. And it was like, everything was so academic with, here's how you approach figure drawing, and here's your pad of paper and your charcoal. And that era of me learning, that just stuck in my brain of like, this is how you, and by you, I mean me personally, it's how you approach image making and problem solving. And so it just kind of stuck with me. And I also feel like I don't have the time to learn a whole new application right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if someone said, here's the iPad Pro with the magic pencil, go nuts, like make what you make. I would say, well, wait, I have to adapt my style to this new thing now. Like this is going to take me a minute to figure all this stuff out, you know?
Yeah, I think like I lose something because I'm not creating too much like analog anymore. Everything's digital, because it's like I was explaining to some of the guys, like I got 20 tattoos a week and I'm trying to make comics. So it's all about time. So I put the time in to learn the program to move quicker. But there are times when I miss like drawing on paper and whatnot, but it's just not conducive. And I was just really interested to see if you had adapted it, any iPad or any other aspect of newer technology. So thank you very much.
Of course. I mean, a lot of my friends, man, that are working in comics as pros, they have adopted to some sort of digital thing now. And I think, especially in the layout penciling phase, like a lot of guys I know now are doing all that digitally and either printing it out and inking on top of that analog style, or I know some guys like my buddy Mike Huddleston, who I went to art school with, who's a genius. He's straight digital now. Like he's doing a new series at Image called Decorum. That's absolutely gorgeous. And he's smart enough that he figured out how to do his analog techniques digitally. So he's doing painted stuff that looks like it's analog. Like the brush strokes are in there, the weird speckling and mistake, and it's all digital, but he just is academically gifted enough that he was able to adapt everything he could do practically into this digital format. So when I look at his stuff, I'm like, I don't care if it's digital or analog, the end product is so gorgeous that the job is done, man. It you know, it's what the goal is being met of what he's trying to do. So where's your tattoo shop at?
I'm in Canada. I've got two actually.
Cool.
I've been tattooing almost 20 yees. So.
Oh wow, nice.
One outside, both are just outside of Toronto. So
cool.
fairly.
Do you do, is it mostly your original designs that you're tattooing on people, or is it like people just getting whatever they want?
It's funny. It's like you were talking about being pigeonholed, and the same thing happens in the tattoo world. I used to be like an Americana traditional tattooer, and that's all I would do. I loved it, but it's like you're saying, you get tired, and I got really exhausted. And it's why I went back to art school, because I was just so tired of doing the same kind of stuff over and over again. And so yeah, like I do anything, you know what I mean? I don't copy other tattooers' tattoos. I'm not into that. I draw pretty much everything that I do. We're a custom shop. So
nice, cool. That's what I like.
Not into promoting, you know what I mean? Thievery or whatever. So it's why I keep so busy, and why I have an iPad attached to my hand, 18 hours a day almost the time.
Yeah. No, I get it, man. It's just, it becomes like speed, efficiency, and
it is so fast. Like that's the thing. I'm always preaching that. It's just so fast. And I'm always preaching to my buddy Rick, and he's so tired of listening to me talk about like how much I'm in love with my iPad and whatnot. But there is something to be said. I do miss like, drawing a portrait in charcoal and whatnot, but it's just time, man. It's all about time. And I'm getting old, you know what I mean? So
no, I get it, man. Writing and drawing and lettering and coloring my own comic book right now, like I love it. It's a joy, but it is like an overwhelming amount of work. And just when you finish one page, it's like, well, you got to do the next page. When you finish one issue, it's like, you got to draw the next issue now. And so it's sort of this never ending mountain of work. But you kind of have to go into it knowing okay, you're strapping in for like a big ride here. Like this is not for amateurs. Like this is not something that most normal people would want to commit to. But I don't think comic artists are normal to begin with, and I celebrate that. So like why it's like, don't get in this if you're not willing to go down the weird wormhole of like commitment to the craft and being at your art table. And it's a very specific trade, man. I mean, like tattooing, it's just a very specific thing.
It's I was going to say, it's pretty much the same deal. Like you're like, I get, because I'm on an iPad, I get a weekly report of how many hours I'm on it. And I only use it to draw tattoos and to draw comics. And I'm on that thing almost 8 hours a day.
Wow. Yeah.
My sleep schedule is totally weird. Like some of the guys can attest, like, I come home, I have a nap for 3 hours, at like 7 o'clock, and then I'm up till like 5 o'clock in the morning. It's just a whole lifestyle and being prepared to put the work in. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just neat. And thanks for your perspective and your time. I really, really appreciate it.
Oh, of course, man. Yeah. Good luck with everything.
Thanks, man. You've got a new fan. So
thank you. I appreciate it.
No problem.
It's just a lot harder to flick toothbrush paint on an iPad,
Oh, but I know how to do that without.
Yeah.
Craig's got it figured out on the iPad, Jim.
People, man, I mean, I've had digital artists blow my mind, man, with some of the knowledge that they're able to pull off with it. I'm just like, you sold me. Like I'm not, but I never was a guy who was like, no, it has to be analog or nothing or digital or nothing. It's like, I've always approached it as whatever gets the job done for you, that you feel the most comfortable with,
Exactly.
Because you have to realize like there's a whole new generation of kids learning almost strictly digital. So yeah. I went to the Kansas City Art Institute in the early 90s, and I went back a couple of years ago to do a visiting artist program, and mostly all the artists are working digitally. So they're all coming up to me with their iPads showing me the project I assigned them. And I was surprised at first. I don't know what I was thinking, but I'm like, oh, there's no practical work. There's no one's rocking a piece of illustration board with the assignment I gave them. It's their computer is what the work is. So again, it's like whatever whatever gets the job done for what they need to do.
And it kind of like democratizes the tool set or whatever, because it's like, you know, maybe before you're like, oh, he's got like this special pen, or he's got these different tools that he's using. I know it's not the pen, it's the artist.
Well, yeah, I always say it's not the pen and holding it, but there's so
Yeah.
many brushes available now. Like you can get a Kirby Crackle brush, for fuck's sakes. Like,
Yeah,
Oh,
but I mean,
shit.
like that's what I mean is digitally, like there's so many brushes and so much to be able to use that everyone has everything in front of them. And again, that could be good or bad, but it's like, you know, I don't know, but you know, someone could just draw something insane like Jim Rugg. All he needs is one of these flippy pens, and he's gonna blow us all away. But like, you know, so
I think I appreciate your artist kind of perspective. Like you don't hear a lot about, like you hear it from our other comic book artists, but you're kind of like an artist. I feel, you know, from the stuff that I've listened to and I've been reading, you come at it from more of an artistic angle, I think, from what I gathered. And maybe that's because you spent some time in or went to art school, I guess. So it's kind of nice to hear that kind of vibe. That's for sure. So I'll stop talking for sure, man, and move on, Eli.
all right, cool. Let's bring in Rick, and then we'll get to all the rest of the questions. I see everyone's got their hands up and stuff. We got Rick here, Rick is the artist of this book, The Power, which we're gonna send you one because it is in fucking insane.
That looks great.
What was my catchphrase, Rick? Not only is he opening the doors of perception, but he's breaking down the fourth wall or something like that. But it's like, man, this book is great. We're gonna send
thanks,
you
Eli.
Great job, man. Awesome.
Thanks, dude. Well, thanks for your time. First off, so I'm a newcomer to your work. Like the first work of yours that I saw was Howard the Human.
Oh yeah.
But then I was shown Clerks later on. You know, so it's like obviously there's this stark contrast of those two works. I mean, like obviously there's a large period of time between them, but it's also like you have such a unique style now to where it's like if you see it, like you obviously know it's you. Like during the Ringsideology, like you were one of the prompts, and so like I really like try to look at your work and see like the specific things that you do. And like, I mean, I don't think I captured it that well. Like not the point, but it was just hard is the thing. And it's really like, how did you get to that point? Was it like a conscious like effort? Like I need to change up my style, or I need to do this sort of thing? Or was it like this progressive, like, oh, let me try this, and then a little of this, and then it just kept, you know, kind of maybe like that, you know? Or I don't know, because it's totally all its own, you know. But I don't know. I was just wondering how you even got to that. It's pretty interesting when you see how different it is, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I get bored easily. So for me, it was always this conscious decision of like throughout my career to kind of try new things, change. I've lived in like 5 different cities, and I've found that like hanging out with the different artists in the different cities I've lived in, they have an influence on me, and kind of that seeps into the style. There's also like almost like physical reasons. Like I was developing carpal tunnel syndrome in my drawing wrist at one point during the early part of my career, which was surprising to me. During that late 90s Clerks, first Girl Scout series, I was inking very intensely and tightly, where I would pencil everything, ink everything with a single line pen, and then go back and add all the line weights with pen. So I was like, and if you look at the Clerk stuff, it has almost this like coloring book look, where it's like this very thick black outline around everything. And then inside the drawing is fairly simple. So it's almost like this very flat, like paper doll type look. And that just started to take such a toll on my drawing hand at such an early age that I was like, shit, like what am I going to do to change this up? So I kind of went to a more relaxed inking style. Okay. And that kind of evolved into in like 2007, 2008, I kind of rediscovered like Bill Sienkiewicz and Ralph Steadman. And I went way more into that direction of like the looser, painterly, mixed media approach to making images, you know, and that seems to have stuck with me to where now it's kind of an evolution of all that. And I'm just in my zone right now of like, okay, now I feel like I'm doing me, and it can continue to kind of change and evolve to where it needs to go. But I also look back at the Clerks era stuff, and I just feel like I wasn't satisfied with my actual drawing ability back then. Like I said, it all looked like flat kind of paper doll kind of look. And so around 2006, 2007, I was like, fuck, I need to get my drawing chops up. Like, well, how do I do that? And I was in LA at the time, and I was hanging out a lot with Jason Sean Alexander, who's a brilliant illustrator, fine artist. He does a book at Image called Empty Zone, and he's doing a vampire book right now called, what shit, why am I blanking?
Philadelphia.
Yeah, Philadelphia, thank you. So anyway, Jason is basically a painter turned comic artist. So I started hanging out at his studio, and seeing his approach to things was more of like the fine art way of using real models, shooting photo reference, really learning how to move the camera around an image and not just do these flat, static shots of everything. So that kind of helped me out tremendously, man, you know. And we had a drink and draw in LA as well, which I would go to on most Thursdays, and that was like hanging out with some of the best artists around and just seeing the drawing chops of everyone. I was like, shit, I have to step up my game, man. Like, I'm hanging out with Dave Johnson, Dan Panosian, Jason Sean Alexander, you know, all these incredible people. And I think that's a good, I always give that advice to aspiring artists. I'm like, try and meet the best artists in your town and hang out with them and get better by learning directly from them. Maybe after everyone gets vaccinated, but you know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, totally.
It's one of those things of like being around these guys. It just forced me to say like, what am I going to bring to the game? Like, I don't have the painting chops or the technical ability of these guys. So what am I going to do to stand out? You know? And my answer to that was like, oh, I can be bugged out. I can be weird. I can take what they're doing and kind of incorporate it into my style, but then make it strange and psychedelic and stand out that way. Because I'm smart enough to know, like, I'm not going to be able to paint like this guy as good as this guy. There's no way. So having that community, and I mean, this is a community that we're on right now. So maybe you guys are doing that without even knowing it, is you show each other your work, and then one guy inspires the other guy to try something new or experiment, and that I've always been big on, like, even though I'm alone making the work, I've been big on the idea of like, you have to have a community in a way to support you, give you feedback, and relate to what you're going through. Because the average person, you can't complain about like deadlines or drawing to the average person, because they'll just say, shut your mouth. I work a real job in an office with people that I hate. You're at home complaining about making drawings. That's crazy. So you have to have your circle of weirdos that you can complain about, and
yeah, totally
ask them what kind of, you know, ink they're using, and these really specific nerdy things, you know.
That's kind of what, like, what's happened, like, as of like a result of Image Grand Design, you know, like us getting together and like working on that, and then it just kind of like siphoned out until we have like our little like bullpen that we like keep in contact with regularly and shit, you know. It's like that sort of thing. But also real quick, thank you for your pages for that too, because like that was like a morale boost, you know. When we saw your stuff, it was like, okay, like he's working with us too, you know. Maybe not directly, but that was badass, you know. So I really appreciate that, man. Yeah. And that was a cool answer because I wasn't sure if it would just be like, oh, I just tried this and that, and this is where I'm at. But, I really appreciate it again. Thanks.
Of course. Yeah. And the Grand Design thing was so much fun, and it just worked out because Eli invited me in to do something, and it was, I had like a 2-week kind of opening, and I was like, I won't be part of the story because I feel like that's too much research for me to do, but I was like, I'll do a fucked up, weird, fake ad in the tradition of like Hostess ads or something. And I don't know where the idea of this ego cakes thing came from, but any excuse to draw Todd McFarlane with like his mullet and the acid wash outfit.
Yes.
Come on.
Yeah, and those Miracle Man pictures you would do when you guys were going through Miracle Man.
Oh yeah,
fuck, dude. Those are some of my favorite things you did, dude.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, awesome.
Those are badass.
Thank you.
Thanks again,
fun.
dude.
Yeah, of course.
Awesome. Thanks, Rick. Yeah, man, we've been doing these, like Rick said, we get on these late night Zooms and we'll hang out and just draw. Everyone's drawing, everyone's making comics. It's just, I mean, for a lot of us, it got us through the pandemic. Up until this point, we saw Rick start his book. We saw Image Grand Design go from just like, that's basically where it started, is like this crazy wild idea off of Ed's crazy wild idea. And then now it's like, now I'm like, where are they? They should have been here yesterday. It's like the packages are lost in the mail, and I'm like freaking. So it's like, it's just cool. It's cool.
Are you did you allow that to be purchased online and you're shipping them out?
Well, I got advice from a lot of different people about what to do, Yeah, we talked, and then your advice was like, just fucking do it, you stupid dumbass, or something. No, I'm just kidding. You were like, just fucking do it. And like, I was like, you know what? Let's just fucking do it. Like, let's just fucking do it. And so Jim gave us the idea of like APA, the Amateur Press Association. So we kind of like created a small group, and that small group was able to purchase it. And then it's just for this small group. And then, so we had a closed group on Facebook, and we did it that way. So
that's awesome. Yeah, I wasn't trying to encourage you to like break laws and get in trouble, but I also feel like it's such an obvious like satire piece that I don't think any of the Image founders, if they saw it, would be upset or offended or like pursue action against you. But
what do you think of it now that you saw it, now that you have it?
Oh, it's great. I love it.
Okay, yeah,
I love it. It's hilarious, and you guys all crushed it and did a great job. It's funny because I was in the same day I got texts from Jim and Ed talking about the book, and then also talking about the ad that I did, and they both seemed extremely happy with what you guys did. So
they sent me the video too, like how you said they sent you the thing, and I got to see it to see if it was like they said everything all right, and it's like, it's gonna be sick when it drops, man. It's gonna be awesome.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I was psyched. I hit a little Girl Scouts wanted poster there in the background of my.
I saw that in the Savage Dragon.
Yes.
Yeah, police station. Thank you for that.
Hell yeah. Of course.
That's awesome.
Yeah, dude, I'm glad you got it and dug it. And there's the full Image Grand Disaster, which is another 180 pages. It's a flip book, which is the full package, which is what I'm waiting on to come any minute now. So I'll send you out one of those.
What? That's a whole separate thing?
Well, just the Image Grand design that you got, Craig bought for just the group of artists who worked on Image Grand Design.
Oh, right.
So then the full book is Design Disaster, flip book, wild, crazy. And the disaster part is insane. That's, it's wild.
Yeah, I definitely need one of those if you can.
Of course. Yeah, you're in there. All right, cool. So now we're going to Kevin Delgado, who is an amazing creator himself. Tough Stuff is his book that was just funded on Kickstarter. It's totally kick-ass. It's like well, I'll let him talk about it, but what's up, Kevin?
Go ahead. No, go ahead. No, it's like it's a throwback to the early 90s. So it's like mixed MTV The Grind, crack cocaine, and Ninja Cats.
Like, oh yeah, man. Wow.
My question for you was, what kind of advice do you have for someone that's just kind of breaking in right now, that like as far as dealing with publishers and like what are things to look out for as an independent artist that's just kind of getting their feet wet?
Yeah, it kind of depends on what you're looking for. I mean, I specifically enjoy working with Image Comics because they don't own any percentage of my creation. I'm sure you know this, but it's like Image's deal is like they don't own any percent of your IP. They publish the book, you split the back end on the money. Other publishers tend to ask for a piece of the property. I'm personally am not interested in that. Like, I don't really like that. But if you're looking just to get your book published and are cool with sharing that, that's an avenue you could pursue with people like IDW, Boom, smaller publishers. So if that's not a concern of yours, I mean, I feel like you have more options than going the route that I do, which is I don't want anybody to touch like my IP. Right. So it also kind of depends on like what you want to do, because I know certain publishers only want to start off with new creators by doing like a new miniseries or maybe an original graphic novel. So it's kind of like meeting the right editor at the right company and figuring out what they want, what they're looking for. You know,
well, I submitted my book to 2 publishers and they both said they were both interested.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're both smaller. Those were the 2 that I wanted to submit to, because I didn't want to. I didn't think Image would pick me up, so I went to 2 smaller ones, and they both said they're interested.
Nice. And then did they basically send you a contract or a list of like what the deal actually is, the money and the percentages and whatnot?
That I'm waiting for. What I got was just an email saying that they were interested, and they asked where I was as far as production goes, because the book isn't finished yet.
Right.
So I sent them like the first, like 5 or 6 pages.
Nice. Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, just as long as you keep open communication with them and have everything in writing, as you know, like don't do handshake deals. I'm sure all you guys know that by now, but you have to have everything in writing and know where each person is coming from. And even with small freelance jobs, I always have to have that conversation with the art director or the editor before we start with like, okay, let's make sure we're on the same page with like money, delivery, deadline, who owns what reproduction rights you have, this, that, and the other, because I don't want to get into a situation where something uncomfortable happens down the road, So as long as they present you with all the paperwork and material, you can kind of look at both situations and make your decision. And if you don't like either deal, I mean, you obviously have now the crowdfunding option of self-publishing. You have the option of releasing it on a Patreon, like Ed did with Red Room, page by page kind of thing, then do the print version later. So I think, you guys, there's a lot of options now of how to release things. It's just you kind of navigating what works best for you.
Right. Is there, did you ever have any like troubles with editors when you brought on your own title, like with Girl Scouts or anything like that?
I didn't, just because Image is really good about being hands off with their creators. So there's this trust thing that happens with Image where once they know you and your work, I just send them a brief synopsis of what I want to do, and they're so busy, they're basically like, oh, that looks fine, let's go ahead and publish it.
Yeah.
So that's the problem with being a brand new talent and getting in with Image, is you have to get Eric Stevenson's attention directly, the main publisher guy, and you actually have to get him to spend the time to read your product and get a flavor of what you're doing and either say yes or no. But it's not impossible, yeah, editors, it's weird because some of them want to be super hands-on and work with you while you're doing the project, and others want to be aloof and trust you as the creator to make the thing, and then they just make sure that all the words are spelled right and then they publish it.
Yeah. That's what I want.
So for me, man, I like being left alone. Like I don't really like a hands-on controlling editor or art director when I'm doing illustration. It's like, trust me, just leave me alone and let me do my thing, and you'll get a better product out of me if I'm left alone.
Yeah.
You know?
Sure. Thanks, man.
Of course. Good luck with your project.
Thank you.
Sure.
Cool. Thanks, Gav. I'm excited to get that too. Do you know when you're going to start releasing the Kickstarter backers and stuff?
I'm like 8 pages from it being finished. Art-wise, I still have to do all the lettering.
Hell yeah.
Do you want to see the most current page I did?
Yeah, sure. If you want to share the screen, let's see it.
Is that your painting behind you? Is that something you painted?
That's my show banner.
Nice. Oh, okay. Okay. Nice. Okay.
This is I don't know if you can see it that well.
Oh yeah, dope.
Shit ton of perspective and just a rapidograph and a beveled ruler.
Are those intestines coming out, or what's going on?
Yeah, their intestines coming out. Yeah.
That's sweet.
A little katana fight beforehand, and then he kicks him up with high rise.
Awesome, man. Thanks, dude.
Thanks, man.
All right, what's up, Doc? We got Dr. Ben Anthony coming in here. What's up, dude?
Cool.
Cool.
First of all, awesome to see you, Mr. Muffood.
What's up, Ben?
I love your Skull Funk Radio. You've turned me on to like so many songs on there, so many artists. So awesome. Come on.
Thank you.
I kind of have like 2 questions. So you just go however you want to do it, you know. Every time I see you do like a video of you like just drawing a picture or whatever, like it's like 10 seconds, you know, you go from like a blank page to just like this, you know, this girl with this huge ass and like bat wings and skulls, and it's like, and I'm like, holy shit. When I know like you couldn't have always been like that fast.
Mm-hmm.
Was there like a time that you can like think of where you went from being like, you know, like working at it to where it was just like, you know, like I said, like 10 seconds. And my other question is, what do you think with the going forward with like conventions and stuff? Like I know CXC in Columbus is supposed to happen. I want to say it's like in November, and you know they're planning to have like a physical event this year.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what are your thoughts on that? Like how to deal with that, or like, you know, are you gonna go be down to, you know, whatever you come.
Yeah, you know. It's interesting you said that because I'm starting to get invited to some conventions at the end of this year, and so I'm having the same discussion with some of my buddies where it's like, okay, if we're all getting vaccinated in the next month, by the time fall, winter rolls around, September, for example, should we go for it and do a convention? I got invited to Lexington, Kentucky for a Comic-Con, and I've done the show before. It's a great show. Everyone there is super sweet. And I'm assuming it's going to be mandatory masks inside. So I'm still kind of feeling it out on whether I should just go for it or not. I honestly feel like it will be okay, but I don't watch the news like every day, so I am probably not the best gauge on that. But then also like Emerald City, one of my favorite shows in Seattle, that's happening, I believe, in December of this year. So for me, like I think summer is too early to do a show, but I think September, October, November, it might be okay. Like I might go for it and see what happens. And I'm starting with this Kentucky show in September because it's not going to be like a major, like 100,000 people showing up type thing. It'll be, it's a big show, but I feel like it'll be controlled enough that nothing's going to get too crazy. So we'll see. I don't think anyone has the 100% answer right now, but we'll see. Because I'm ready to get back out there, dude. I'm ready to like see people, sell some comics, talk to the fans, and just kick it at night with my homies, man.
Something that'll probably change is you'll have to have a vaccine card to go to a convention. So that's like how sporting events are now.
Right.
A few that are happening.
Gotta have a mark of the beast.
That makes sense. And then for your other question, man, the super fast drawing style is mostly done just to fuck with people and make them say like, what the hell? But it's also like, I drew relentlessly in sketchbooks for years with just straight pen, like no penciling, just pen, like try and get the image in your mind first and then just get it down on paper the way you're seeing it. And through filling up sketchbooks with terrible ink drawings over years and years and years, it got to this point where I got pretty comfortable with just this direct attack with like ink on paper. Right. And so I kind of developed almost like a separate style of taking a marker or something and just doing those drawings you see in the videos of like, here's a 5-second shitty Batman drawing, but it's kind of cool to watch it, but it's not something that I would necessarily hang in a gallery or something, but it's fun to
shows, definitely.
It's a fun thing. And the other part of that too is I started doing live painting in nightclubs in the late 90s with DJs like on stage. I was on stage painting, and being in that environment, it just forces you to work super fast. And you've got like drunk people bumping into you and weird lighting happening. So you're sort of drawing and concentrating, but you're also sort of not, because you're in the moment and in this strange environment, but it sort of trains you to become fearless in a way and just make marks with the tools and see what happens. Like, it's not going to be the tightness of like a Mobius drawing or something, you know what I mean? It's not going to be this majestic, tight piece of art. It's going to be this like loose gestural separate thing that I think kind of takes on a life of its own. And then I tried to take some of that loose energy and just apply it to my actual work that I do. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying, because I mean, it's obviously, you know, you look at them and they're just, like you said, it's just you capturing that just live energy, you know, where it's, you know, it might be just like a 5-second shitty Batman, but like, you know, if you're at a show and like someone comes up, hey, we get, you know, that's gonna like just blow them away. You're like, here you go. Like, people love that shit. So that's what I'm saying. Like, that answers it. I got you. That's good. That's cool.
I like that stuff, especially at the show. My friend Jason Sean Alexander, who I mentioned, we usually set up together at like New York and stuff, and we always have this running gag of like, hey, do you want to draw a crowd right now? Do you want it to happen? And we'll look at each other and be like, sure. And Jason's technique is he starts drawing and painting with his toothbrush dipped in ink, where he's like drawing and then he'll fully shade a drawing with ink spritzing from the toothbrush. And people will see this happening and just stop and come over to his table and start watching and be like, okay, this fool's like fully painting with a toothbrush, ink, and then he's painting all the highlights in with white paint. And he's making these like crazy image, and it draws an instant crowd. And then I'm doing my like big loose 5-second Batman drawings, and we can create kind of a thing in Artist Alley where no one else is doing this particular thing, you know.
Yeah.
So they usually put me and him and like David Mack, like the weird mixed media goofballs together, especially in New York, and they give us a corner area in Artist Alley and are like, yeah, you weird mixed media guys, you can go over here and splatter paint and do whatever you want to do. it usually works out, man. It's you know,
awesome.
it's fun.
Cool. Thanks, man.
Excellent. Thank you, sir.
All right. Anyone else got any questions? Raise your hand, or I mean, I can definitely ask tons more questions. Now, here's one I've been thinking about. Oh, someone say something? I know. Let's see.
Yeah,
Jerome.
Yeah,
gotta have Jerome.
Yeah.
Wait,
What's up, man?
good.
I know Josh had a question too. If you still want to ask yours, pop up here. Here we go, Rome.
What's up, Jim? Thanks for your time.
Of course, man.
Yeah, it's you know, I have like I've read like Girl Scouts and the Gen X, and I haven't read Clerks or anything, but I have noticed that you have a very distinct style, like everyone's saying, and like Craig mentioned that you kind of approach things like an artist. It seems like you have a lot of different talents in in art. And I know you made that pop-up book, which was wild. How do you use how do you get like that different audience? Because there's the comic audience that you have, but then I would assume that the pop-up book maybe had like a little bit of a different crowd, and maybe some of like your paintings or whatever has a different crowd. How do you manage that? Because I have like I'm the Etch-a-Sketch guy.
Oh yes.
So, yeah.
You're great. You're amazing.
So I don't know.
You should have said that.
I don't know.
You should have said that right away. You should have just come on and be like, "I'm Jerome. I'm the Etch-a-Sketch guy. Everybody loves me."
Yeah. Did you think about making it first and then start thinking about like how you move it to an audience, or was it just something that you said, okay, I think there's an audience for this, and I'm gonna do that, because I just got a hold of a Dremel tool, so I'm just waiting until that moment where I can like actually like cut one open and make it permanent and see if I can move stuff that way. Just you seem like you have your hand in a lot of things. Any advice on that part?
Yeah, I mean, I was always interested in my art being applied to other things besides comics. And I think the gateway for that is I started early in my career getting work, doing like album covers in the music industry. That led to illustration work. That led to seeing my work applied to products, actually printed on like, beer cans or some physical object, and seeing that application, man, I was like, oh shit, it doesn't have to just be restricted to paper. It can go on things. It can be on a t-shirt. It can, these things can work as branding. I mean, as much as I hate saying that word, it's true. It is a form of like, you have a style, you have a brand, put it out into the world and people recognize that. And the pop-up thing is kind of like the pinnacle of that. And I can't take all credit for it because the guy who made the pop-up book, who designed it and engineered it for me, this kid named Rostin Meyer, I met him at Art Basel in Miami, and he just had the gumption to come up to me on the street, literally on the street, and was like, yo, man, I know your work. He's like, listen, I design websites. Your website, it's not that good. Give me a chance to redesign your website. And I was like, who the fuck is this guy? So anyway, we traded cards, and I actually saw his work, and he's great. So I let him redesign my website. And then he had this idea of, he collects pop-up books. So he started figuring out how to engineer his own pop-up books. And him and I selected different pieces of my art, and he basically just started putting together test run paper constructions of what some of these pop-ups could work and how they would physically fold out and the geometry and design of all of it. And then I would kind of chime in with, let's add this into the background, or maybe we could have this thing. And so it was like a year process of us kind of, we would have to send videos back and forth to each other because he lives in Denver, to actually show each other what we were thinking in 3D terms. And then he made the book, and it's just wonderful, amazing like art object. You know, it's more than a book. It's like a sculptural 3D object that you can own and collect. So I kind of, and he's real hip on like the lowbrow juxtapose street art scene, which I got a lot of exposure to that stuff when I was living in LA and going to galleries and participating in like group shows. And so I saw how my work could also translate to that kind of other scene outside of comics, and that there's a market for people that are just interested in cool looking imagery. You know, so some of those collectors, man, they don't know that I'm influenced by like Bill Sienkiewicz or Jamie Hewlett. Like, they don't know what that is. They're just seeing my work on a wall and saying, oh, hey, that looks interesting. Like, I like that. That's a thing that I would buy on a print or a beer can or maybe a pop-up book. So that exploration kind of helped me create an audience outside of comics, that now that audience is kind of like one globulous thing through social media. Of, I find that most of my followers now, especially through Instagram, they don't really care what project I'm working on. They just want my art. So if I decide to put out a pin or a print or a new Girl Scouts comic book series, they want to buy it because it's the next new thing from me. So I think that that's kind of one way to approach a career as well as an artist or a freelancer, is you put out cool looking shit, and whatever you decide to apply that to, your audience follows you. You know, I started it this way through comics, which I think is a good gateway. And then that expanded through time into this other stuff. Basically.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. That's awesome. Thank you. If you ever need like an Etch-a-Sketch, the variant cover, you just let me know.
We need to stay in touch, man. And I noticed too that you have the Kent Williams Wolverine Killing on your wall.
Yes.
Which I love that book. That was one of our go-to books with my crew when that came out.
Yeah, that messed me up as a kid. So
yeah,
I'm making comics now. So.
Yeah, blame it on Kent Williams.
Yeah, blame it on all of them.
Yeah, he's another guy that his studio was right next to Jason Sean Alexander's studio in LA. So I would go hang out with Jason, and then at the end of the day, dude, we'd go see what Kent was working on. And after I would see what Kent was working on, I would drive home and consider quitting art, because I was just like, I've been hanging out with Jason all day, seeing him paint and draw. And now I just went and saw Kent, who's a living like master. It's like hanging out with Rembrandt or something, and seeing his huge canvases of his paintings. I would just drive home and be like, why do I even do art? Like, I don't know anything about drawing or painting.
The break your pencils feeling.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
But the cool thing is like, those guys, like, everyone's different. Everyone has their own approach, their own style. And so getting encouragement from people that are different from you, like, that's all good too. Like, Kent was like, oh no, dude, your shit's great. Like, you're the weird, bugged out guy. Like, do what you need to do. And so works for me. You know, you're the Etch-a-Sketch guy.
Yeah.
So
I make fight scenes too.
What's that?
just to put it out there.
What did you say?
Said I make fight scenes too. So just
okay.
To put it out there.
Yeah.
As soon as you get the title, you're like, no. Like, as soon as you work so hard to like get this title, then you're like, no. I'm on to the next thing now.
There's more. Like, isn't that what Jim just did?
Yeah.
he had something, and he's like, okay, go to the next one. Go to the next one. Go to the next one.
Yeah.
Just so I need people to just want to get the new Jerome thing, whatever it is.
Right. And
That's
what's cool is when you have your work out there for a while and you kind of let it marinate in the culture, things will just start happening, and people will start contacting you, and surprises will start happening, because especially with social media, like, you don't know who's seeing your stuff. You might post an image and that day some kid in Japan might see it, like, who knows? So that idea of it being this open market of free-for-all is pretty exciting, you know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Of course, man.
Just make me feel even more excited for Image Grand Design to come out, because that's kind of like the hello, right? It's kind of like the hello for a lot of us. So
yeah,
I'm excited for that.
That's awesome.
Thanks for being part of that too. That was super dope.
My pleasure. It's Eli's fault.
It's all Eli's fault. What's wrong with that guy?
Oh man, I mean,
wants us to believe in ourselves.
That's all I want, man. That's the cool thing about social media. If it's like they say in comics, you can either use the power for good or you use it for evil, you know? And if you use it for good, like we're all doing, you create your thing. And it's like people are buying into you. And like you said, Jim, they just want to see that next thing that Jim drops, you know? And it's insane. And that's what I think is so great about everyone that's here. Everyone's working. Like if you're looking at everyone's screen, everyone's head down, everyone's got light board, everyone is like working on some stuff. So like while we're doing the end of the cast plugs, I think that everyone needs to show what they're working on. So unless Josh got something to say, because I felt like he raised his hand. Okay, there he is, popping in at the last second. All right, so let's hit up Josh, and then everyone prep to show what you've been working on in the end of show plugs. What up, Josh?
Hi, everyone. Nice to be here. Cartoonist Kayfabe has been great, right? Like every day in the past 3 years, I've been looking for a group that it's something similar to this, and I found it. And also on the YouTube channel with Jim and Ed, it's been amazing. I'm always looking for stuff that it's about analytical critiques or analysis about comics, because they carry so much themes, weight, and content that sometimes it's understated. For Jim, I'm new to your work, man. I have only known the mainstream stuff, like the Ultimate Fantastic Four 2 issues and issue, and then the Generation X, all right? But love your work, man. So out there, so different from every artist, and that's what I'm always looking for in every comic book artist, all right?
Yeah.
So my question, I have two questions, right? The first one is for you, Jim. So comics are like movies in the way that they are produced for a massive audience, right? But however, the comics have not been fully embraced by the mainstream as art. What are some of your thoughts around that?
Yeah, I mean, I just kind of view comic books as an art form that is sort of an outsider art form. I mean, it's kind of just inherent to what comic books are. I mean, it's almost like jazz to me. It's this pure, beautiful, wonderful thing, but it's not for everyone. So it's an interesting kind of dilemma that we're in. I don't know if it's a dilemma, but I mean, I've tried to turn people onto comics throughout my whole life, friends of mine, and some people I feel like just don't resonate with this idea of reading a page and having these boxes in order that tell a story with beautiful artwork in it. It sounds shocking to all of us because we're all fans, we're all fanatics for it, but I've just discovered that there's certain people in this world that are like, yeah, it just doesn't, I don't get it, doesn't resonate with me. And to me, it's like the purest form of storytelling. So I don't understand, and I'm always trying to figure out ways to like, how do you expand the audience? And you can't force people into things, but one thing you can do is what we're doing right now, which is we talked about earlier, like having this community of people spreading the idea of like cool artwork, cool storytelling, individual styles, and people wanting to express themselves, you know? So there's something so fundamentally pure about that you can't deny the goal of it, the motivation of it, and the end product. So whether fans come on board for that or not, to me, it's like, I have to keep going either way. I have to keep creating either way. And you guys have to keep creating either way because we're on the other side of it. We're the creative force. You know, whether readers or fans come to it or not, we're sort of in control of that, but we're also kind of not in a way. It's up to chance in a way. But one thing you can do is be friendly and welcoming to new people that might want to try out comics, you know, and I always try and be professional and polite at my table at conventions and say hello to people and say, if you don't know my work, check it out. Here's a free sticker. Here's a postcard. Here's a little thing with my art on it with my social media. It might be something you're into. It might not. Whatever, I'm at least saying hello to you and we're making this connection and you know that I'm out there in the world doing my thing. And you know, being an obnoxious asshole isn't going to get you anywhere with wanting to spread the culture in a positive way. So it's but yeah, man, I'm always I tend to get frustrated when I look at numbers of like, why don't comics sell more? Why don't more people, everyone is watching the movies and TV shows based off this stuff. Like, why don't they want the source material, the actual comic books? And I don't know if I have the answer for that question. Maybe one of you guys do. But other than people don't have time to recreationally read, I don't know. But I mean, I'm a busy guy. I read. I can still read comics at night. We were talking about earlier, it takes like 15 minutes to read a comic book. It's not that big of a deal, you know? So, but I think it's just, we keep it moving forward and have these communities that are doing awesome creative things that people eventually have to notice, you know? I hope.
Thanks for your answer. Yeah,
of course.
Appreciate that. And the next one is for Eli. Hey man, we need to do for the next Wizard number a segment about authors from comics, right? People like Jim, like Ed, like Barry Windsor Smith, like John Byrne, that they write, at least that they write and draw their own comics, and extra points for those who ink, color, letter themselves. We need to do a pull list on that.
All right, let's do it. We can work together on it. All right, message me on Facebook for Wizard.
Nice. Yeah.
All right, connections made. All right, cool. So we got some more hands up. That's perfect. We got Sean live from the Comic Lounge. Sean is keeping all his long boxes, yo. Oh, what happened? Oh, there we go. All right, we can't hear you though, dude.
Oh, is he's still muted?
Yeah, you got some good books in the background there. That 2001.
Nice.
It's one of my faves. What's up, Sean?
Yeah, I feel seen. First of all, collect how you like. You know, I mean, everyone does it their own way. Good for you.
Right.
If you're not having fun with any hobby, stop doing that hobby.
Yeah.
I've been collecting. I learned how to read. I learned how to read comics. So, you know, I had it in college where I went to college and I stopped reading. Moved to Hollywood and I hid them in the closet. And you know, when girls came over, you know, I hid them in the closet, and when girls left, I pulled them out. They'd come back and say, "Did your furniture move?" And I was like, "Yeah, a little bit. Had to make room for long boxes." Right? But especially with the pandemic and COVID, I've been trying to find ways to enjoy the collection, and I got shelves, and you know, I pull them out. I treat them like records. Like put a record on. You know, with WandaVision, I had all my West Coast Avengers out. Right now, I got all my cats. You know, it's like, I don't know, you enjoy it, you have fun with it. I'm enjoying this channel and Eli doing deep dives into comics are tight, can I flip it and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I want to go to Spiro's. No,
Yeah.
I'm not going there for a trade paper. I want to go to a con, like Eli's Table, and pick up like hard copies of Ringside Seats or bootlegs of Red Room. You know?
Yeah.
I don't want to trade paper. You know, it's like dollar comics. Like I want to go to a shop and go through the dollar bin. Like, how do you make comics popular? You need to be $1. You know, it's like you need to have $20, get a stack of 20 as a kid, and go play, go read. You know, it's like, that's it.
That's a good point.
But that's free trades. You can do it for the art. Sure, I get it. I got married. I sold a whole bunch of the engagement ring. Like, you know, the collection goes up, it goes down. Having fun with it, great. If not, sell it. But I enjoy the hell out of it. I enjoy the hell out of you guys. I've been having fun watching and reading. I got Wizard up here. I ordered my scrambled egg. So, like, you know, what I want, though, is a Kickstarter for, like, the Kayfabe Weekly, you know, or, like, the Warriors magazine, like, of, you know, all the Kayfabe guys. Like, do a Patreon for that or a Kickstarter for that.
We have been talking about, because, like, Image Grand Design got so big, but someone said the other day, like, why wouldn't we just do one of all our own original stories, you know? And then that would be, like, even better. We wouldn't have to worry about, you know, copyright infringement or whatever.
Yeah.
It's coming.
You know,
it's coming.
Yeah. And I want to come to your table at the con and pick that up, you know?
You will.
So, like, but not trades. Not trades. You know, I can buy trades at a garage sale and give it to my nephew. Who gives a shit, you know? But, you know, anyway, keep the books coming. I want more books, more content. Anything you can do to let me buy something that says Kayfabe on it, I will do that.
Hell yeah, dude. Thanks, Sean.
Oh, right, and thank you for Skull Candy. I'm going to listen to that shit next.
Oh, man, it's so good.
Definitely, man.
Yeah.
Is there a backlog of BB sessions anywhere?
You know, man, I have the MP3s of the shows. I just need to figure out where to put them. I don't know if I should include it with Skull Funk, but I need to talk to Carmen about it. I need to get her okay. You know what I mean? Because that's our joint production.
Right.
So.
I downloaded a bunch of them back in the day, so I still have a few that I jam every now and then.
Oh, shit. Okay, cool.
Because you had them on Libsyn and you could either download or stream, and I was like, oh, I'll keep these.
Yes.
All right, let's check in with Sam Blanchard, who may or may not have a question, but is also going to segue into the show off what you've been working on / plug section. What up, Sam?
All right. Hey, Eli. Hello, Jim Mahfood, Mr. Mahfood, whatever.
What's up, Sam?
Big fan of your stuff. I've been trying to crack the code of how you address narrative style, because you've got a real abstracted visual style, and it's not like your traditional sort of, you know, Kirby-esque or whatever storytelling sort of thing. And the way you work that abstraction into how the narrative works, I'm really interested in. Like, you know, I read Carl, I've read Girl Scouts, and I'm just, you know, I'm always stealing from you. There's that. I'm just trying to crack the code. It's like, how do you get that abstraction to work when you're telling a story?
Oh man, that's a good question. That's something I'm trying to figure out every time I sit down to do comics. Yeah, for me, I mean, it's almost like I have to put my brain into two separate places, because my natural inclination is to make cool looking images first. But with comics, obviously the storytelling is the precedent. That's the most important part. So for me, I am always having this kind of ongoing dialogue in my head of like, cool image versus storytelling. Am I able to convey what I'm trying to get across with the story in this image, or do I need to choose a different camera angle or a different perspective? Or that's why, man, my best comic book work, I think, comes when I write my own stuff, because when I'm writing, before I even jot any ideas down on paper, I'm writing the story in my mind as I like walk around during the day or hang out. And as I'm writing it in my mind, I'm also visualizing how this stuff is going to be paced out and what scene would need like a double page spread or a splash page, or what issue is broken up into what scenes. And then I go through this weird idea process of just like recording all my ideas in notebooks and then I tear out the pages of those notebooks and put out all the ideas in front of me, and I start putting together like a puzzle what is going to actually happen in each issue of a comic book, and then storyboard and thumbnail off that, and that, so it becomes this, it really is like a puzzle piece.
It's like the Burroughs cut up style.
Yeah, so it becomes this process, but it's also, I like leaving things to a bit of a random chance, and that probably introduces the weird artiness into, I guess, what I do. It sounds pretentious to say that, but I'm not really making comics to have this super clear, like A equals B equals C. Like I kind of want to allow myself to have fun, tell the story, but also leave things open enough that the reader can interpret in certain ways. And I really want people to come into my work and just want to spend time in there and hang out there. So it's not so much, I know I'm never going to be as good of a writer as Alan Moore. So instead of coming up with these grandiose, like elaborate plots and all these plot threads and crazy intricate things happening, it's more like, I want to tell this fun story. How do I get from point A to point B and still have it be fun and also a bit nutty, you know?
Yeah, no, I follow you. I work a very similar process, and I don't know, feel the same way. Working with other authors always kind of, you know, stymies me a little bit, because I feel like they have an expectation of what they want to see on the page.
Yeah.
And I revert from my really loose style that I enjoy drawing to like a really kind of classical structured style. Just because I think, you know, the author wants to see this thing, or they put down, I want to see X doing this in a background that does this, right? They give you that script, and I feel like, okay, well, I got to get out the drafting stuff and make this look exactly like what they want. Or go back to the author and say, you know, I'm just going to draw whatever the heck I want, and you're going to get it and fire me or you're not.
Right. Yeah, I think for people with, I guess, like people that work in their own wheelhouse, their own unique style, which I guess is what I do. If you can approach comics with the attitude of just do it all yourself, write, draw, letter, color, I mean, just be the pure visionary force behind it, I think that gets the best product out of that type of unique artist. It's a very different mentality than being like a monthly jobber guy who just wants to draw X-Men. There's nothing wrong with wanting to become the monthly penciler on X-Men, but that's a different kind of approach and mindset. And for me, I never really had the goal in mind of like, I want to be a monthly penciler at Marvel or DC. I just wanted to do comics, and my main struggle was like, what is my place in comics? Like, how do I figure out where I fit in? And because my original goal was to just be an inker. I started off like inking other people's work, and I fell in love with the art of inking and using the tools and the brushes, and I got pretty good at it. And I actually had an inking portfolio of me going over other penciler samples that I was going to conventions and shopping around when I was like 17 years old and stuff. And I got a couple of little gigs here and there, but eventually it just dawned on me like, this inking thing isn't going to work out. Like, I just have to fully do my own shit. Like, I just have to become my own machine of generating what I want to do. And once I embraced that and accepted it, it was a completely liberating and exciting way to approach making work. It's a shitload of work, but it's also like, no inker is going to ruin my pencils. No colorist is going to ruin the artwork. No letterer is going to cover up what I think is an important part of this panel, because I'm the one. Yeah, if someone's going to ruin something, it's going to be me, damn it. So that's the kind of approach of like, just jump off the cliff and go for it. the downside of that is like spending a shitload of time on a big project and then having that fear at night of like, what if it isn't good? Like, what if I'm working on this thing and it turns out that it's not very good? Oh shit. Well, it's all on you. I mean, the blame is going to be all on you, but my approach has always been like, get these projects out and out of your system and then always move on to the next thing. So that's just my way of doing it. You know, I just feel compelled that I have to do this stuff. And then even before it's over, I'm already thinking about the next thing I want to do. Like, this one is fun, this is cool shit, but man, for the next one, I'm going to do this other thing. And, you know, it gets into this cycle of like, maybe that's not a great way to approach it, but it does keep me excited to keep creating every day. And that, because I don't want to ever lose that enthusiasm or energy. Like, I don't want to ever be like a jaded, angry cartoonist who's like, I don't know why I do this, fuck this. Like, I just can't, like, I wouldn't be able to function if it got to that point. So, you know, I just keep the train moving forward, man. You know?
Got to.
Yeah.
Cool, Sam. So this is what you've been working on here, dude?
No, this is just what I've been doodling while we're talking here. So I got some very like Ashley Wood type girly things and
nice.
Oh no.
Nice, dude. And Sam did a Tank Girl pinup, Jim, that blew up on
classicals or girly things. This is the one that's going to give you an R rating. Right?
Oh, that's all right.
It's all going up the sketchbooks on Instagram.
Awesome, man.
But yeah, I've project right now in the works is Why Did the Chicken Cross the Road?
That's right.
Big, you know, everyone's waiting for it. Had kind of a writer's block because I got too serious, and you know the art was getting all serious, and the plot just wasn't like flowing anymore. So I drew a bunch of girls, and now it's going again.
Nice.
Awesome. The 30 days of April are going out. So Eli, if you need Photoshop files of the April things, I can send them all to you.
Yeah, totally. And for anyone who's on here, we're doing a thing with oh God. Now I'm on the spot and I don't remember his name. Son of a okay, I'll edit it in here, but we're doing a April O'Neil zine. And you know, this dude, he had cancer and he came out of it, and one way that he coped with that and learned to like redraw again was through doing this during the 30 days of April. Dan Connor, I'm sorry, Dan. And so Dan Connor's working on this April O'Neil zine, like the other two Turtle zines that I did. So he came to me to publish it. So if anyone's looking to draw April O'Neil for this new zine, we're doing it. And all the proceeds after printing are going to go to cancer research and something that
that's a great thing.
Yeah, it's cool. Really awesome.
And the other thing is, I finally got read on Amazon through a Kindle print on demand.
Nice.
So this is my author's copy here to see if they come out decent. This is me trying to crack the code of international shipping.
Oh yeah,
that's awesome, man. I know your work now that I see that image. I was like, oh,
this is like a new cover.
Yeah.
Yeah, that red
I
came
sent
out
you a
so
copy,
good.
sent you a bunch of prints because again, I'm always stealing from you, so I got to send you something so you don't see it.
I have it. I love it. Yeah, it's awesome, man. Keep it coming. It's great.
But yeah, chicken is coming out next, and then a fencing project is coming after that.
Yes. Nice,
dude. All right, cool. Thanks, Sam. So let's go around the horn and let's see what people are working on. Or Jim, do you want to lay down some? Tell us what you're working on, what you got coming up next.
Yeah, I'm just. I'll show you guys some stuff real quick if you want to see it. There's a double page spread.
Wow.
New Girl Scouts.
Oh my gosh.
Tight. That's our new Girl Scout. Her name's Dio. Lighting in here might not be too great, but
nah, it's coming through.
Anyway, but yeah, this stuff and some freelance stuff right now, but Yeah, I've got like issues 5 and 6 to finish, and then like I said, November we start releasing through Image Comics and maybe conventions this year. So we'll see.
Right.
And I'm also trying to get together a YouTube show right now of like more of the tutorial, like me drawing. I've been doing a lot of commission work through Inky Knuckles, and I kind of want to show actual commission process of like how I work. And because I have a lot of commissions that I've messed up, and I kept all the mess ups, and I kind of want to start doing video archives of like, why did this not work? And let's go through the steps of actually how the successful piece was made and show kind of my decision making and stuff like that. So I'm getting the gear together. I was actually texting with Ed today about like the lighting that Kayfabe uses and some like studio stuff that I think will help me out. So, but yeah, and people can check me out at Jim Mahfood on Instagram for basically daily updates. And that's about it. Yeah.
No word on the animation front or anything yet?
We for those that don't know, we have my Girl Scouts thing was optioned last year for an animated cartoon, and we were working with Disney and Freeform as an adult animated thing for the Freeform streaming channel, and things are on pause right now, so it's gotten kind of weird. But with Hollywood stuff,
well, yeah,
you just keep your fingers crossed. But I don't like rely on it for like happening. I just assume if it progresses, they'll let me know. But my day-to-day job, man, is still just being in the studio and drawing and like doing my own shit, you know.
Gotta be, yeah.
So we'll see. I do want to see the stuff animated at some point.
Yeah,
obviously,
dude.
like who wouldn't want to see their shit as a TV show? But it's just so weird dealing with money people and suits and agents and stuff that they're not, when I talk to these people, it's not really like my wheelhouse of interest. I'd rather just talk to like you guys or my fellow artist homies and just not have to deal with this, you know, bullshit, but whatever.
After Disco Destroyer, man, I was like, a Girl Scouts comic would be so sick, or a cartoon would be so sick, but it'll happen.
I know. We'll get there at some point. It's, you know, we'll see.
Hell yeah. All right, cool. Let's continue around. So what you working on, Kev? You're the next one that I see in there.
I've been doing a ton of sketch covers for commissions lately.
Nice.
And I probably took on too many, but I just started this once the show started.
Nice.
So it's the Stray Dogs, but I took over the homage to the Dead Alive poster.
Oh yeah. Nice.
So dude, I got to add some shading and stuff to it to make it kind of more active of that. But yeah, that's what I got now. I just sent a file too to the chat, a piece I just colored this morning for Tough Stuff.
Nice, dude.
Sweet.
Hell yeah, looking forward to it. All right, let's see. Next on my top here is Jerome. What you working on, bud? And, hold on. Sorry. Kev, where can we find you, man?
On Facebook, Delgado Kevin. And then on Instagram, it's solstice_art. And on Twitter, it's Frigid Giant. I had everything under Frigid Giant, and then that account got stolen from me. So
what the hell?
I lost my following at one point. Yeah.
Damn.
Oh, shit.
Heck.
Word. All right. Well, thanks, man. All right. Let's go to Jerome. What you working on, man? And where can we find you?
Well, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I don't use Twitter, but it's there. It's at JRoamCAD, JROAMCAD, because Cabana Tan's too long to say. So I've just been sketching around with.
Damn.
I've been sketching around with a raft.
Nice.
I stole this pose from Sam.
Nice.
So yeah, there you go. And then
Yeah, but you did it
he
better.
does machines.
Oh, sick.
Right.
That's like
That's
a
the
Kirby.
Yeah, the
Kirby
mother
box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, mother box. I got if you got kids, I got children's book on Amazon.
Oh wow.
The ABCs of Haya. It's the best ABC book that a kid can have, I think. Right. Treat Kids or Troop 44. It's a kids graphic novel, right? So most of the stuff's for kids, and I'm trying to move my Patreon right now. It's patreon.com/JeromeCab. I'm putting in strips on a tier, and I'm working on a fight comic. So called Tree versus Fox. So it's this, but this was mainly like lessons for it was mainly like a comic wrapped around lessons because I teach Taekwondo. So it was for the kids then, but I want just an excuse to just hi-ya and chop and fly through trees. I want to make my version of Destroy. So it's an epilogue. It's an epilogue to this. So that's what I'm working on. So yeah.
And we've seen your style grow so much, man, since
that's because of that digital bullpen, right? COVID sucks, but that's one thing that came out really, really well.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, dude. All right, Craig, what you been working on, bud? You all right over there? You're muted.
Yeah, man. Can I share screen? Because I can't hold up my iPad.
Word.
I just sent it to my Mac.
I think so. Rick, what do I got to do again? Come on.
It's under security.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Okay. All right, go ahead. Oh, shit.
Sweet.
Roughing in some bottom stuff there on my iPad. It's too hard for me to hold up in front of the camera.
No, this is way better.
Wow, that really looks like pencil.
Yeah,
the bottom, yeah, for sure. You know. Yeah.
And this is the weekly strip, right?
Yeah, this is my Scud ripoff of Kirby and Bot. So yeah.
Nice, dude. Hell yeah.
Is that one for kids too?
Oh
yeah.
Not at all.
All right, and where can we
find that ear? He's losing that ear like Van Gogh style.
Oh
That's
yeah.
That's it, buddy.
It's awesome.
Thanks, man. You can find me at dull_pen. I think I follow everyone in here. I'm pretty sure, even you, Jim, today.
Awesome.
We're doing Kirby and Bot every other week, like I said at the beginning. Rick and I and Burgess Meredith, who couldn't make it. We're doing a bi-weekly strip. Next Panel Press. It's always in kayfabe. Gonna be on Monday. And
on what's it called? Webtoon, yeah.
Yeah, I always forget about Webtoon.
I know. It's such a cool platform though, and worth exploring for any of us.
Yeah, it is. Once you get used to it, it's, you know what I mean. It's cool. Definitely.
I was really frustrated with their censorship process.
Well,
yeah, I'd heard. I don't know. I haven't run into that, but by the time this gets the ball gets rolling, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get fucking.
You'll get it.
It all depends if somebody ever complains about anything.
Well, big much, right? So I saw the image. You should send me the image, Sam. You know.
Yeah, I sent it to you. It's really, really thing, and they just said no. This has nudity. It's like where they said no. There's nudity.
Yeah.
There's none.
None. Yeah. So it is what it is.
Is Webtoons, I mean, I'm aware of what they do, but is it all like PG-13 rated material? Like you can't have.
There's some pretty adult stuff in there.
Yeah, you can choose, right? Like you can say, hey,
even if it's flagged as like an adult thing, it's really abstract. Like I said, I think it's just if somebody complains, they flag you and tell you to take it down. And so like one comic I was working with, a guy from Albany, Chris Drome, does Discordia, and he has this thing, and there's boobs and everything in his drawing in his comic, and they're on Webtoons. He's like, no, I never had a problem. I had like a little panty flash, and they came all unglued about it, and they wouldn't justify where there was this nudity, quote unquote, that they saw.
Weird.
They just said take it down.
That's weird, man.
Yeah, who knows?
Everything that came back from them was really automated. So I think there's like one guy in Asia that's just sending out, carbon copy replies, until you take it down. And if nobody complains, you do whatever you want.
Yeah. Word. All right, let's keep moving around here. Peter, do you want to throw in some plugs here?
Oh man, I would happily do it. So I own a store in San Antonio called Gotham Newsstand. I was working on a new store called Beyond the Cover because I don't want to be associated with DC Comics so much anymore. But while we were talking, I was working on the website for that and how to add product with it. And I have a mixtape I'm almost done with. I have a DJ alias called The Galactic Us.
Nice.
How people mispronounce Galactus, my whole life I've heard that. Yeah. So I slow down songs with my wife, and she sometimes sings alongside them. So we have about a 14-track mixtape we're going to put voiceovers on and just doing that part and putting on Dat Piff. And I'm a terrible artist trying to improve daily. Nice. So I like coming to the draw zones and drawing with people.
Yeah, man. And you as well. We've seen you improve from the beginning till now, for sure. It's been
yeah. Thanks. I tried my first story with like panels and moments the last draw time.
Yeah, it was sick.
Yeah. Here, I have it on hand. I can show it actually. Whoa.
There you go.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Jim, we do a thing the first Saturday of every month. I basically took the idea from Meltthology, where we meet every Saturday night on Zoom and we all draw a page. We've been doing themes. This month's theme was "Music is the weapon of the future," that Fela quote. So
yes,
we did,
that's awesome.
Yeah, we all did like music theme stuff, and it was because Jerome saw my Funk Gun, remember, from Monkey Lion book.
Yes.
And so he liked that, and it was like Fela Live in Amsterdam and that. So then I was like, let's do that. It's perfect.
That's cool, man. That's awesome.
We post them in the Kayfabe group, but I'll send you the PDF if you want to check out the most recent one.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I did a riff on George Dookie Stick in that one.
Dookie Stick, man. Yeah. Rest in peace, George Duke.
Oh my God. Zappa work. Oh,
that's a whole other conversation for you and I.
All right, all right, Dr. Ben, what you up to, man?
Wow. There you go.
There you go, bud.
I think I can flip this around. I'll show you what I've been drawing. I've just been
oh, nice.
Working on some character sketches for antagonist in this web comic that I'm working on.
Dude, I like that Godzilla guy.
Oh yeah, I did a Godzilla on the right, and then I had a little cartoony one too.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's I got to go back and forth with if she's gonna have boobs, if she's gonna have a dress. It's the whole same. Like I've got a Webtoons account, but I haven't put anything on it. So, but that's what it'll eventually be. So I'll probably have to do the clothed version, and then maybe have the nude ones for special patrons or something.
Right. On your Patreon.
Yeah, and I want to get this in just because it's finally out. Right? Is that the back in 2014, I drew this Space Jam with LeBron James in it before it was ever announced. Before it was ever announced, he was working on it. So I'm expecting to get
a royalties check.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I'm gonna send AT&T a nasty letter or something.
You predicted it. That's incredible.
That's what I'm saying. Like 2004.
So
and like I sent them an email back when I made it too. I was like, hey, hook me up, guys. Like here's. And they never wrote back. How typical.
Ben, is that the back cover of a published comic? Like, what is that?
Yeah, well, this is like, I published it just as like as a mini comic.
Okay. Wow. Look at that front cover.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
And, it was a whole, this one was just like a one-off like page, and it's just like in the insides is just a whole bunch of like just random like junk, like because it was just, you know, it was like a bunch of copies, and then that was like one of the pages that was just didn't work.
You might have a case, bro.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I'm gonna see if I can get Alan Moore on my side or something.
That's amazing.
But yeah, so that's what I've been doing, you know.
Nice.
And then the webcomic I'm working on is everything is going to be on. There we go. Okay, is going to be on Instagram and Webtoons, all under thick _ comics. So
is that a K or 2 C's?
CK.
CK. Okay, got it.
I thought about it afterwards, but I didn't want to, like, you know, like I don't want to go too much with the adult route with it. Like I want to keep it like, not like family friendly, but like you know, a hard PG-13 definitely. Like
yeah.
But,
all right.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ben.
Yeah,
we'll be looking out for it.
Always, Eli. You know, like, mad props to you for doing all this shit, dude. Like,
no problem. It's all I can do, man.
That's what I'm saying. You're bringing it all together.
All right, Joe. All right, E&M, what's up, man? Coming to you all the way from Japan. Been working on anything during the cast?
I'm working on university lessons because the school year starts in April in Japan, and tomorrow is the first day of school.
Oh, wow.
So, but I'm still trying to be creative. So like you guys, probably half the people on there, like this is the page that I finished a week and a half ago.
Nice.
That was the one about reading comics to my kid.
Right.
And I was like, I like the color on it, but last week I wrote thumbnails for about a 24-page story, and I got to get on it ASAP. And I'm really thrilled with it. It's I was thinking about American right-wing education, the Chinese what's the system? Do you know the system now? You're not allowed to complain in China or you lose points. The social something or other points.
Wow.
Okay, it's been going on for 2 years. It's really crazy. They're getting ready for the Olympics. So if you like don't smile and stuff, you can lose points, which will hurt you from renting cars and taking trains and stuff. So be happy all the time. Happy.
Oh my God.
And the Japanese nursery school system. So I'm kind of fusing them together to try and portray what a day in school would be, where everyone's happy all the time and you're always enjoying things. And the kids, if a kid cries, we'll take them outside, and they're not allowed to basically just remove any sort of expression of frustration from any child and see how they would grow up. And and so like I wrote 24 pages. It's a nice, simple, short thing, 26 pages, but I want to boost my drawing style, and so I'm copying from this. Have you guys read this? Eleanor Davis's How to Be Happy. She like every short story is a different style of art.
Cool.
So I can't do this. This is like awesome. Super professional illustrator stuff, but she's really able to get like this nice naturalistic line. So I'm feeling motivated for the next 6 months as I do. University teaching's not that fun. I'm not going to say I like it. It pays okay, but this is going to be hopefully my happy place. But I got to get this done for tomorrow. So yeah. I'm making keynote presentations as you guys talk. Nice. But that's my thing, guys.
Cool. And where can we find you again? Where can we find you online?
Square Comics with an X, but like I'm pretty lazy about posting because I don't like, it's not like if I get something posted, but I'd not it's comes and goes. Yeah, follow it, see what happens.
All right.
Okay.
Totally. All right, and it looks like last but not least is Andy Ledwedge. What up, dude?
Hey, what's going on?
This week? This month,
yeah.
I mean?
Just got my copy of your book here, Jim. Just wanted
Oh,
to
sweet.
shout that out.
Yes. The big monster coffee table book.
Dude, it's super badass. Yeah, I got turned on to from the Kayfabe guys. So yeah, it's
Awesome.
fitting. This.
Thank you. Yeah.
I was just working on some thumbnails actually using the iPad as you guys were talking about that.
Nice.
Using Ed's template that he shared.
Oh yeah.
Nice. I used that for the first time myself this week.
Yeah, I'm like a total. I went to art school, but I'm a graphic designer by trade. So I'm doing this. Kayfabe and COVID kind of got me super back into drawing again. So,
nice. Yeah. Where'd you go to school?
CCAD in Ohio.
Oh, okay.
The Columbus College of Art and Design.
Yeah. That was a 4-year program?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So Rick's question was what I was gonna ask you. So I'm glad that he asked that, because you're seeing when they showed off your work, seeing like your older style compared to your newer style is super interesting to me, like how you push that style.
Yeah. It's weird in context, because if people only see the old stuff, that hurts my heart a little bit, because part of it, it's like, well, no, look at my new shit. That's the best stuff. But sometimes, people's attention span is so limited that sometimes you can't expect everyone to know the history of everything, obviously. So I have people that will show up at my table at conventions and like, they haven't bought anything of me since like the late 90s. So when they see the new work, they're like, what is this crazy shit you're doing now? Like, what happened to that Clerks style or whatever? But I don't get upset about it. It's just, it's hard to keep up with everything, man. So how would people know, but
yeah, well, I love it, man. I love seeing your posts on Instagram and everything. Super cool.
Thanks. Appreciate it. Yeah. Thank you.
Now, actually, I forgot to ask Rick what you're working on, man. If you want to show us, your eyes are like, ugh. Can you show us what you're working on, Rick, or no?
There we go. Yeah, of course. Yeah, sorry. I'm trying to see my screen. Okay, so this is just the strip that I'm working on for this week. Me, Craig, and Burgess all do our strips together on Next Panel Press, and that's what I'll put on Webtoons. And then this is just a page from issue 2 of The Power that I was working on recently.
That's
so
awesome.
Those are, yeah, thanks, dude.
How are you getting those different colors in the lines there? Do you have like?
Oh, I alpha locked my pencils so I can make them visible.
Sweet.
And I just hit them with my palette that I've been using. But yeah.
Is that the stuff you showed on the right in black and white? Is that hand lettered?
Yeah.
Okay, nice. Yeah.
Thanks, dude.
Whenever I see hand lettering on paper, it's always like, oh shit, good for you.
Thanks, dude. That's what I was working on after I asked the question.
Yeah.
Well, we're just about done here. We did have one artist that popped in right at the very end. He just came in. His name is David Browers. He's an amazing artist. You might know him as the cover artist from Wizard and the cover artist from Image Grand Design. You working on something right now? Do you want to end the show by showing us what you're working on, Brow?
Thanks, man. I'm always working on something. I'm trying to finish off some commissions here. Hey, man, I wish I could have been on here further. I had a hard time finding the link, dude. But
sorry about that.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Yeah, I'm working on a bunch of shit. I don't know. What do you want to here? Show you some.
Any of us gonna blow us away.
Here's some Doomsday.
Jesus.
Super nice. Getting at him. Got Cyborg on the ground. Green Arrow, bunch of that. I'm trying to finish that off, get off plate this weekend, but also been working on this. I couldn't leave Image Grand Design out of my head, dude. So I had to do another piece.
Damn, dude.
That's awesome, man. Are these commissions or what are these for?
Well, as Rick will tell you, I like to say they're commissions, but they're not really for anybody. It's just for me, dude. I just draw cons. But like, yeah, no, they're not commissions. I'd like to say they were.
Yeah, they can just be for you. That's fine. I didn't mean it like that way. Like you have to make money off this shit. How dare you? But that being said, you can finish those and then put them online and sell them. I'm sure it's like really dope.
Jim, I wish I had the opportunity to actually ask you a couple comic related questions because I'm sure they all been asked tonight. But if I was to ask you one question, dude, gun to your head, what's your favorite song off Paul's Boutique?
Oh, well, the easy answer is B-Boy Bouillabaisse because it's 15 minutes long and has like 12 different songs in it. So that's kind of cheating. But my actual favorite song is probably Car Thief.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Just because it has this ridiculous big sample in it from this group called Funk Factory. And just the Beastie Boys rapping about being in like a pool hall and getting into a scrap in a fight at this, some Static started in the pool hall, all that. I love it. It's great storytelling. It's a super funky, deep track. And that's probably my favorite. Nice. Great question, by the way.
Great question. Hell yeah. Thanks, Browers. So we're going to end it here. On that note, y'all should go to Jim's site too, because he has an amazing Beastie Boys mini comic on there that talks about Paul's Boutique. It's so sick. It was used by Questlove in a class at NYU about hip hop history. So it's like, not that you need that to make it legit, but it is hard legit. It's almost too legit to even stop doing it.
I see where you're going there. I see.
Oh man. Well, thank you all, Jim. Thank you so much for coming. Thanks everyone. We're gonna be here next month, second Saturday of the month, and we're gonna try to keep it going as long as we can. So thank you all so much for coming. This will be on YouTube soon. Peace out.
Take care, guys.